What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. I already did a scenario like this for Goku, so why not do one for Vegeta? In that previous one, we had Goku born with the same type of potential Broly had. Super Broly to be specific. So what if Vegeta was born with the same type of power? Today, we'll begin this brand new scenario, what if Vegeta was like Broly? Let's begin. Vegeta the 4th is born and is exceptionally strong. King Vegeta expected this, he is the prince after all. But as a baby, they notice his power fluctuates a lot. It seems almost abnormal, which is kind of saying a lot. They already knew he was going to be strong to begin with, but this is a little different. It is a little bit concerning, but still, seems like it could be pretty great. King Vegeta is pleased. Around the same time, another Saiyan is born with pretty much the same issue. Though Vegeta being royalty has much more noticeable fluctuations because his standard power as is really high. Though King Vegeta thinks the other baby might be a problem. This one's named Broly, and he's still sent away to Vampa. It could just be a coincidence, or maybe they're reading the powers wrong because he's right next to Vegeta. Or maybe something about being near Vegeta makes him this strong. They don't know for sure. All they really know is that Vegeta seems a lot stronger than he should be. Vegeta develops a little more, and eventually goes into combat. Even as a kid, he's exceptionally strong. Frieza doesn't immediately take notice. Since he is an elite Saiyan after all, he's supposed to be strong. It doesn't raise any eyebrows. But King Vegeta does teach Vegeta an important lesson. One of the few things he ever will be able to tell his son. Never show his full power. At least, not until he's sure he could beat Frieza or someone like that. Of course, Vegeta doesn't like hearing this. He wants to use his full strength. But King Vegeta tells him that it may concern Frieza if he does show that full strength. Who knows what the consequences of that could be. And really, King Vegeta is kind of speaking from experience. Look what happened to Broly. This does annoy Vegeta a bit, but it makes sense, so he keeps it in mind. It's not like he could properly suppress his ki, but he holds back just enough to not be noticed, never fighting at full power. So he does sort of innately suppress himself in a way, but not to the full extent he needs to. At least not immediately. Frieza actually comes to see that Vegeta is stronger than a lot of soldiers, even people like Zarbon or Dodoria. Although, it's nothing he or the Ginyu Force can't handle. The highest he's seen Vegeta's power go is 40,000, and that could just be a fluke from the scouter. It's worth keeping an eye on, but nothing that's immediately concerning. With some more training and experience, as well as trying to suppress his power to begin with, Vegeta then innately learns how to suppress his ki, controlling it a lot better than the average Frieza Force soldier, even better than Frieza himself. And by this point, Frieza ends up destroying planet Vegeta. All of that goes pretty much like normal. Kakarot's already been sent away to Earth, and every other Saiyan that's on planet Vegeta dies as normal. Right now, even though Frieza reads Vegeta's power as around 40,000, his true power is more like 300,000. And remember, he's still pretty young at this point. He has a lot of room to grow. Vegeta's not quite on the level of first form Frieza just yet, and doesn't know the true extent of Frieza's power, so he keeps this advice in mind. Nappa suggests this too, and makes sure Vegeta gets the proper guidance he needs. Because who knows what power Frieza's hiding. Raditz is of course part of their group still too, and still weak. Vegeta ends up handling a lot of missions himself. Of course, he was already strong before in the main story, but now, Kid Vegeta is over 16 times stronger than Vegeta in the Saiyan saga, and he keeps growing with time. Granted, he's not getting a lot of great training because first of all, he thinks he doesn't need it, and second, when he's on missions, he's not really using his full power to begin with. He also has Great Ape as a last resort too, and he trains to get that under control. For some reason, Vegeta seems a lot more rowdy in this form. And Nappa's noticed something strange about Vegeta too. He's able to keep his cool a lot, but in moments where Vegeta would get heated, his power does seem to flare up a lot. Now, he's not completely out of control, but Nappa walks on eggshells around him. And thankfully this is pretty rare because Vegeta never really faces issues, so he never blows his lid. Frieza does some things to piss him off, but he does keep a cool head, and anyone in the Frieza Force that tries to mess with him, well, he doesn't take them seriously. And besides, if some random weakling soldier tries to disrespect him, well, he could just kill them with these. Like for example, Hui tries to mess with Vegeta thinking that he's stronger. He heard Vegeta's rumored power level was 40,000, but checking his scouter, it's only about 15,000 now, because Vegeta suppresses it a lot better. Though, this doesn't really turn out well for him, and Kui mysteriously disappears one day. Vegeta continues to grow, and we get to the point where he's an adult. But we should cover what's happening on Earth, because what's going on with Goku? Well, everything in Goku's story goes exactly the same. Nothing's gonna change up until the point when he has a reunion at Kame House. This is where things would start to shift. The reunion at Kame House? Well, it just goes normally. It's an actual reunion. Raditz never ends up coming to Earth. They don't need Kakarot for the extra manpower, and they never even have the idea to recruit Kakarot. Raditz and Nappa are actually stronger on their own because they go on tougher missions with Vegeta, and he treats them pretty rough just so they can grow stronger. He could basically act like a punching bag for them because they can't do anything to him. So after winning the 23rd World Tournament, Goku lives a nice and peaceful life, now with Chi-Chi and Gohan. He does want to train more, especially knowing that Piccolo's out there, and he's going to stay the strongest on Earth. Without Raditz showing up, Goku is completely unaware of his heritage, and Gohan's too, of course. After the reunion at Kame House, Roshi actually offers to train Gohan. He knows Goku would like that as well, and he'd probably even like to train Gohan on his own too. but Roshi thinks it would be most beneficial for Gohan to come here. That way he can get proper training and even education, while Goku has more time to train himself. And it's not like he's just going to leave Gohan here. Goku could just come to Kame House to train with Krillin. The main issue is Chi-Chi, but Goku is able to convince her because Roshi does actually educate his students to some degree, and it lets Goku and Chi-Chi come to a compromise. Roshi is essentially a private tutor for Gohan, but also his martial arts master. And after meeting all of Goku's friends, despite being a bit shy, Gohan grows to like them. So he's excited to go to Kame House, and now he's an official member of the Turtle School. Though one of the agreements Goku had with Chi-Chi is that he'd do extra studying compared to what Goku and Krillin did. Roshi thinks this is fine too. He'll still be able to fit in enough time to let Gohan grow as a fighter too. Goku and Gohan travel there pretty often with Nimbus. And since Goku's there a lot of the time too, he trains with Gohan as well. Plus Krillin's there a bunch, so he spends his time sparring with him, or simply doing things like meditating. It's a win-win for everyone. More training for Goku, more training for Krillin. Gohan gets to grow as a fighter and still study, and plus everyone gets to see each other more. Roshi sees a lot of potential in Gohan too. He feels like there's a strange amount of power locked away in Gohan. He sees very brief glimpses of it. There's nothing that specifically causes it to flare up. Little does he know that Gohan has insane potential as a hybrid Saiyan. But his other students, Goku, Krillin, and even Yamcha who shows up from time to time, they're growing a lot more. Anyways, now that we've covered that, let's go back out into space. Vegeta is an adult, and is much more confident in his power. He still has never trained much, but he's grown naturally on missions even though he didn't put in a lot of effort, and he knows exactly the type of power he's working with. In base, his power can't be measured by a regular scouter, especially because he suppresses himself a lot. But he estimates he's at around 15 million at this point, and as a great ape, that would put him at 150 million. Again, he doesn't really know the true strength of Frieza at this point, but at 150 million, he's strong enough to fight Final Form Frieza and kill him. That's exactly how powerful Goku was on Namek when he turned Super Saiyan. And at this point, especially with his level of confidence, he decides to make his move, attacking King Cold one day. Vegeta, Raditz, and Nappa show up at a base where King Cold's located at the moment. They don't even bother fighting any of the soldiers because these are going to be part of Vegeta's new empire. King Cold's not too surprised to see a rebellion, but he's not scared of Vegeta. Sure, he might be strong by Saiyan standards, but he's no issue. It turns out, he actually is a really big issue. After a pretty short-lived fight, he's able to beat King Cold. All the troops on the planet at this point just stood there and watched. It's not like they could fight anyways. Some did try to intervene, but Raditz and Nappa simply killed them. Vegeta then floats above the base, displaying King Cold's body so everyone could see it, and then dropping him to the ground below. Now everyone can get a closer look. He tells all the troops to stand down and pledge loyalty to him. Otherwise, they can go and join King Cold in hell. And Frieza will eventually show up there too. Though if any of them truly are stronger than King Cold, he welcomes them to fight him. Of course, no one here is even close to that level, so they all stand down, pledging loyalty to Vegeta. Of course, Frieza gets word of this pretty quickly. First of all, King Cold's defeated, and second of all, a bunch of his troops just defected. A lot of the troops don't really know what to do because they expect Frieza to show up at some point, and Frieza's probably going to end up killing them. But they wait to see what happens. Frieza then shows up, and honestly, he's not too surprised that Vegeta tried to go against them. He's more surprised that he succeeded in killing King Cold. Now, King Cold is not as strong as Frieza, so this doesn't immediately concern him, but Frieza might actually have to try in this battle too. He powers up, not even using his second or third form. He goes straight into his final form. He is a bit surprised that Vegeta would bring this out right away, but Frieza is still confident in his victory. Besides, he's still holding back. Vegeta and Frieza begin fighting. With Frieza holding back his true power, Vegeta is able to perform pretty well, but there is still a clear advantage on Frieza's side. That is until Vegeta flies to the other side of the planet. Frieza follows along, wondering why he's running away. But as he looks up in the sky, he realizes exactly what's happening. On this side of the planet, there's a full moon right in view, and Vegeta turned into a great ape. Before Frieza could even try to destroy the moon, Vegeta unleashes his full power, overwhelming Frieza. It forces Frieza to bring out his full power, and Vegeta humors him, letting him bring out that strength. But even with his full power, it's still not enough to fight Great Ape Vegeta. But Frieza is able to form his ki into Homing Blast, trying to get the jump on Vegeta, distracting Vegeta as one goes to destroy the moon. And despite Frieza taking a lot of damage at this point, he definitely still can't fight. And with Vegeta losing his Great Ape transformation, Frieza gets the upper hand. Vegeta starts to lose. He never could have expected this. His whole life, he's always been the strongest. He even thought he was stronger than Frieza, and to be fair, as a Great Ape he was. But that's all for nothing. And Frieza takes great pride in getting the upper hand again, drawing out the fight for as long as he can, trying to cause as much injury to Vegeta as possible. But there's a weird change in Vegeta. For the first time in a while, he shows true rage. His anger explodes, and so does his ki. Vegeta's hair grows more wild, and he feels a huge surge of power, with Frieza noticing that his eyes have now turned yellow. For the first time, Vegeta's channeled the power of Great Ape in his base, no longer needing to transform into a Great Ape, and a wicked grin appears on his face. The tides have turned once more. Vegeta has the upper hand again, and since Vegeta had a full mastery of Great Ape, He doesn't fully lose control and wrathful, kinda like Broly would've. Though he is very volatile and scary, but he's still lucid enough to win this fight and actually kill Frieza in the process, finally accomplishing the thing he's wanted for so long. Vegeta stands over Frieza's dead body and then sees two people flying over in the distance. It's Nappa and Raditz, trying to see what's happened, and they're left completely speechless. First seeing a bloodied Vegeta, which is something they'd never seen before, but just as surprising as seeing a dead Frieza on the ground, in a form they've also never seen. Vegeta declares this as a victory for them. Now, he's Emperor Vegeta, the strongest in the universe and the ruler of this army. He thanks Raditz and Nappa for sticking alongside him. These two fellow Saiyans will be his right-hand men. Even though there are stronger options like the Ginyu Force out there, still, these two are wholly loyal to him, and also Saiyans, which holds some importance. Though, even though their strength isn't even close to his, he'll whip them into shape. And he'll whip this entire army into shape. The three of them go back to the other side of the planet. Frieza's entire army has arrived here, at the orders of Frieza, of course. Vegeta arrives back, holding the body of Frieza. He came to learn Frieza was actually pretty durable, so there's probably not even much left of Frieza's body, but whatever is left of it is displayed by Vegeta. All the soldiers here get down on a knee, pledging their loyalty to him. By now, he's even found out that Frieza was the one to destroy Planet Vegeta, which he already suspected. So, he's also finally gotten his revenge. He has this entire army, and more importantly, he has his own strength to rely on. The person he trusts and relies on the most is himself, after all. The elite Saiyan prince, and the new emperor of everything. He feels completely unstoppable. Vegeta's empire continues to expand. But let's go to Earth for a bit. About 2 years pass since the reunion at Kame House. Gohan is still training under Roshi, and Goku frequently visits the island. Same for Krillin too. And this creates the perfect opening for Piccolo. He knows exactly where Goku's going to be. He's continued his training, and he has a special attack prepared just for this. Now, this attack definitely is going to be strong enough to defeat Goku, but the issue was, it took a while to charge up. So Piccolo's been working on that, trying to make it faster and more powerful. Not to mention, he's been trying to figure out a good way to use it in combat because it still does need a little bit of charging. Goku isn't just going to sit there and let him charge it. Piccolo attacks Kame House one day, first making quick work of Roshi and Krillin. This will be a fight just between him and Goku. The two then float above the island, with an injured Krillin and Roshi watching from below, and Gohan's there too. And Piccolo finds it kind of humorous. His best friend, his master, and his son are all going to watch him die. Goku's not too sure about that. He has been training a fair amount, and even if Piccolo's strong, he's sure that he's going to win here. The two have an explosive battle, but it is pretty clear Goku has the advantage here. And watching from below, Krillin can very clearly see that Piccolo knows he's going to be defeated. He's confident in Goku's victory, and so is Roshi. Though something does feel off. Krillin's not really too sure why. From below, Krillin can sense that Piccolo's power is climbing, though he's still losing. It doesn't really make sense to either of them. Why is his power growing if he's clearly being worn out? And then he realizes, that's not Piccolo's power he's sensing. That's a separate power. Goku felt this power too, but Piccolo fought really strategically here, enough to keep Goku distracted and make him not realize the two powers are separate. That's why he fought in the air. Far above where the two are fighting, high up in the clouds, there's another Piccolo. He split his power directly in half, and the Piccolo floating above them is charging a Makanko Sappo. Piccolo then stretches his arms out, wrapping them around Goku, and he grows in size too. It's not increasing his strength, but it makes it harder for Goku to escape. It all happens so quickly. Just as Piccolo wraps his arms around him, a beam of light bursts through the clouds above. Goku struggles to break free, but it's already too late. The beam pierces right through his torso, ripping Piccolo's arms clean off as well. The mortally injured Goku falls into the water below. Piccolo descends down, and then from the clouds above, another Piccolo descends, with the two merging back into one. Had he not split into two, his power would have been just around equal to Goku's, but he still did need time to charge that attack, and his plan worked perfectly. Piccolo stretches an arm into the water and lifts Goku's body up. He's barely clinging on, and Piccolo looks at everyone on the island, smirking as he then sticks out another hand, saying his farewell to Goku. He launches a powerful point-blank blast that kills him, finishing their battle and finally achieving victory. Piccolo then floats closer towards the island. Now, who should he kill next? As he gets close to the island, Krillin quickly launches a solar flare, and it works, but Piccolo just laughs. What, are they planning to escape? Krillin then rapidly charges a Kienzan, tossing it right at Piccolo while he's still blinded, and it cuts him clean in half. Piccolo's vision returns. He floats above the island, missing half his body, and it looks like he's finally defeated, but he then starts to laugh, regenerating his lower half. That was a pretty smart plan, but surely they realize they're done for. But then something catches Piccolo's attention. That kid that was on the island. His power surges. There's a flash of light and he disappears. Piccolo then feels a sharp pain in his back, as he's launched into the water below. Krillin and Roshi look up in disbelief, and Piccolo then emerges from the water. Floating above them is Gohan, completely blinded by rage, and now with golden hair for some reason. Krillin asks Roshi if he's ever seen Gohan's hair change color like that before, and Roshi's never seen anything like it. Gohan then launches back into Piccolo, relentlessly attacking him. Krillin did try to kill Piccolo before, but Now, Gohan has such a huge advantage that he's not even worried about killing Piccolo. He doesn't know what's exactly going on with Gohan, but maybe this is the perfect opportunity for something else. He only thought to kill Piccolo before out of desperation, but now they might not need to. Instead, they should keep him alive just so they could bring Goku back. Gohan continues attacking Piccolo, and as he launches his final blast, Piccolo is then swept away by something else, and Gohan looks back on the island, seeing Krillin performing a Mafuba, successfully sealing Piccolo away. Gohan then flies back over there and, still angered and also confused, asks Krillin what he did and why he couldn't kill Piccolo. And Krillin quickly explains he needs to calm down. If Piccolo dies, Kami goes with him and so do the Dragon Balls. They could still bring Goku back. This does calm Gohan and he de-transforms, going back into his base. Roshi wonders what the hell he just witnessed. They then hear voices in their head. It's Kami talking to them. He lets them know Goku's safe. Piccolo didn't fully destroy his body, but there's a really huge hole in his torso, both from the first attack and the second one he took. Anyways, Kami took it back up here, and now he's going to King Kai's planet. In the meantime, they can collect the Dragon Balls, and he thanks them for sealing Piccolo. They'll question what's going on with Gohan later. Right now, they should probably hunt those down. After a few days, they find all the Dragon Balls and summon Shenron. Goku's revived, but since his body is actually with King Kai, he's revived on that planet. And Goku's actually able to communicate with them. He made it across Snake Way pretty quickly. He is a lot stronger at this point. Goku says he's actually going to stay here for a bit. And while they're talking, he learns of Gohan's new form because he didn't actually get to see it for himself. He asks King Kai about it, and then King Kai reveals a really shocking truth to all of them. Goku's actually an alien known as a Saiyan, and as for Gohan, that would mean he's a half Saiyan. King Kai's not exactly sure, but he does know of a legend called the Super Saiyan. That might be what Gohan just became. And immediately it piques Goku's interest. He wants that for himself too. He's going to stay here for a bit to train, and he'll be back soon enough. Though, he apologizes to everyone for leaving for a bit. He didn't plan on staying here until he realized how great King Kai's training is going to be. Anyways, back out into space. Vegeta's not really fighting much anymore. His empire is growing more, and he doesn't really need to do as much. And when he does, it's not like he puts in much effort. Raditz and Nappa, on the other hand, are growing a ton. They exploit Zenkais by going on tough missions, and Vegeta, of course, helps them out too. Though it's having diminishing gains, so at some point, they're just going to have to do normal training. Vegeta's goal is for them to be as strong as Frieza is. Right now, their power levels are in the low millions, which is a huge improvement, but still, they're not quite there yet. As for Vegeta, he believes he's a Super Saiyan. That form he used against Frieza, channeling the power of a great ape, emboldened by rage, that must be what a Super Saiyan is. He has no other explanation for it because he's never seen another Saiyan do something like that. Not to mention his insane growth and the fact that he's mutated, on top of being an elite warrior. That's the only explanation. He's the Super Saiyan of legend, the only one able to grow like this and do things like this. As Vegeta's empire expands, the different partners he works with get more jobs. And that includes the Heaters. They're active again, getting a lot more work, and making a ton of money as well. Granola obviously catches wind of this, especially working under them. He learned that Frieza and King Cold are dead, but the person now leading the army is a Saiyan, Prince Vegeta in fact. This angers Granola to no end, especially because a lot of the work he's doing for the Heaters now is related to the stuff for Vegeta. Now, it's not like he's going to random planets slaughtering people, but he still is acting as a mercenary, going after specific soldiers, but mostly stealing things. But he already knows how this is going to go. Soon enough, he's probably going to be forced to be a soldier under Vegeta, or at the very least the Heaters, doing the same exact thing as the Saiyans did to Planet Cereal. Plus, knowing Vegeta's out there in general makes him really mad. So he seeks out the Dragon Balls, making a wish to become the strongest in the universe, beyond Vegeta. And this wish isn't really too insane. The bar is actually Vegeta himself right now. Broly of course is out there, but he's probably weaker than Vegeta at this point due to the latter's training. Boo is dormant, and he's not included in this, and Cell's still developing. Every other strong person like Gas, Goku, anyone on Earth, they're far weaker than Vegeta. So he's the bar, and Tronbo simply makes Granola stronger than Vegeta. By a pretty big margin too. Thankfully he doesn't have to cut off a lot of Granola's life. It's not like he's jumping to a godly level fighter. That took nearly 150 years off his life. With a power jump like this, I'd say it would probably take something like a few decades. I don't know how the wish works proportionally, but let's say it takes just 20 years off his life, which is more than a worthy sacrifice for him, especially for someone who lives 200 years. This wish makes him stronger than wrathful Vegeta, so he goes to attack the army. He catches Vegeta on his base at one point, quickly working through all the soldiers and getting to Vegeta without much trouble. Nappa and Raditz try to stop him, but each with one attack, he knocks both of them unconscious. Realizing they're Saiyans, he's about to kill them, but Vegeta then steps up, hitting Granola with a pretty powerful punch. He doesn't want to waste much time exchanging words. But before he kills Granola, he'd like to know who he is, and Granola's completely overcome with rage seeing the Saiyan right in front of him, and he tells Vegeta exactly who he is, the last survivor of the Cerealians, getting his revenge on the Saiyans. Vegeta vaguely knows about that, but he wasn't personally involved with the planet Cereal, but that doesn't matter to Granola. He's still upholding the same principles that led to the Saiyans doing that. After all, those Saiyans were loyal to Vegeta's father and Frieza, and look where Vegeta is right now, assuming the same role as Frieza. Well, yes, so Granola should be aware that Vegeta's far stronger than Frieza at this point, and Granola knows that. But so is he. Vanishing from sight, he hits a vital point on Vegeta's back, stunning him and knocking the wind out of him too. Vegeta falls to the ground, and Granola holds out a finger in front of him, charging a blast and getting ready to execute him point blank. But Vegeta starts laughing. Good. It'll be nice to finally have a challenge. And besides, he won't have to hold back his true nature. He goes into his wrathful state and the two begin fighting. But even after transforming, as well as growing in battle, Vegeta's still not able to overcome Granola. He's multiple times stronger than Vegeta is right now. And it does make Vegeta wonder, if the Cerealians were wiped out that easily by the Saiyans, how is this one so much stronger than Vegeta, the absolute pinnacle of the Saiyans? And Granola lets him know that he wished for this power, and it seems the wish was worthwhile. Vegeta starts losing more ground, and with the wrathful form still active, he tries to tap into more power from rage, starting to lose sense of himself too. The only time he was ever pushed like this was with Frieza, and even then when he assumed this form, he was strong enough to beat him. This is different. This seems like certain death. But then, Vegeta completely snaps, losing all control. Though even with this, it's not enough to defeat Granola. But Granola notices that he's growing as he fights, so he gets ready to finish this. He fires a single blast right at Vegeta's chest, but the blast simply bounces off, as Vegeta's aura then flares up. His hair grows spikier than it already is, and it takes on a golden color. As a greenish aura surrounds him, he bulks up, his ki explodes, and he ascends into the air with Granola following him. Now, Granola himself seems to be able to survive in space, but as far as he knows, he did research beforehand and Saiyan shouldn't be able to do that, but Vegeta goes high above the atmosphere and Granola chases him. A brilliant green light illuminates the planet, and Vegeta fully transforms. Raditz and Nappa are trying to keep up from below. Their scouters have recorded everything, and thankfully Vegeta's wearing a scouter during his fight too. They're gonna go through it later and figure out who this Granola guy is, but they put their scouters away for now, because they don't need to use it to read anything. They could very clearly see a powerful green light up in the sky. Vegeta has become a Super Saiyan, going completely berserk. He and Granola continue clashing, and Granola's finally losing ground. The exact moment he turned Super Saiyan, Granola still felt like he was equal to Vegeta, which was concerning because he's no longer stronger, but at least he could still utilize vital points. But Vegeta is still growing as he fights. And plus, he's on a rampage. He starts sending out blasts in every direction. Granola narrowly avoids them, but some of the blasts hit nearby planets, evaporating them with ease. Even taking out a star nearby. Granola tries to keep his distance. At least out in space, it'll be harder for Vegeta to find him. Granola needs to set up the perfect shot. And with Vegeta actually losing sight of Granola, he just goes around destroying things mindlessly. One of the stray blasts comes down to the planet where Raditz and Nappa are on right now, and using all of their power, they're able to narrowly block it. But they see a bunch of brilliant lights in the sky. There's a green streak of light flying around which they assume is Vegeta, with a bunch of smaller blasts branching out from that. At this rate, the solar system they're in and all the ones around it, they're going to be vaporized. Vegeta's going to be the destruction of his own empire. But the green light is snuffed out. Granola finds footing on a nearby asteroid. With all his power, he lines up the perfect shot, not only hitting Vegeta on a vital point, but going clean through his head. It's a good thing he landed this because if the fight went on any longer, Vegeta might have grown so much where the shot wouldn't have affected him. But even on a stronger opponent, this works. The shot itself doesn't immediately kill Vegeta, despite going right through his brain, but it mortally wounds him, instantly making him lose consciousness. And, without his power to protect him anymore, he succumbs to the vacuum of space. Now back to his normal self, dying and freezing. Granola calls his ship up here. It lands on the asteroid, and Granola looks at Vegeta's corpse one last time. There's no life coming from it. He's definitely dead. He flies off back to Cereal, but midway during his flight he realizes, oh crap, he didn't kill those other two Saiyans that were on that planet. Well, it shouldn't be a problem because they seemed way weaker than Vegeta. Besides, Vegeta might have even wiped them out in the chaos. Either way, his mission's completed. Now he needs to find a job because when he came here, of course, he did have resistance from the Heaters, so he had to kill them too. But he's finally free, and he finally got his revenge. After a few days of searching, Raditz and Nappa find Vegeta's body out in space, bringing it aboard a ship. A lot of their troops were wiped out. Granola killed a good portion of them, and when Raditz and Nappa defended against that blast that Vegeta launched at their planet, there was a really powerful explosion that killed a lot of the others. About 80% of their troops are gone, but they still have enough resources. And they can't believe it. Vegeta's truly dead. But Nappa and Raditz were going over the scouter, trying to figure out who Granola was, and they heard his entire story. And there's one thing he mentioned that caught their interest. He wished for his power. It sounded very literal, so there's a way to wish for strength. They could track down that Cerealian and figure out how he did that, but he's too strong. They don't want to fight him. Nappa suggests finding out a way to make wishes and using that to either make themselves strong or, more importantly, bring Vegeta back. And he says Namekians know some stuff about magic, right? What if they started there? Raditz isn't really too sure. They're low on resources at the moment, and they don't really know where to begin either. Nappa's going to take over the army for the time being because he's the strongest person left. Raditz will directly be his right-hand man, and he's going to research this himself, trying to figure out a way to bring Vegeta back. Though Raditz also thinks they'll need to recruit new troops, so he'll handle that too. So while he's looking for a way to bring Vegeta back, he's trying to think of who they can recruit. Maybe there's other Saiyans out there, like he knows Vegeta mentioned he had some sort of brother, though he was really weak. But then Raditz remembers. It slipped his mind. He has a brother too. Well, they've got a lot on their plates, but they could recover from this and bring Vegeta back. After more time training with King Kai, Goku eventually returns home. And immediately, the first thing he wants to do is test out Gohan's power. So, Gohan transforms against him. He's learned to control this form, and after King Kai theorized what this form is supposed to be, they just refer to it as Super Saiyan, which of course is the right name for it. It's actually Super Saiyan. Goku shows off Kaioken, fighting Gohan while he uses his Super Saiyan form. The two fight, and surprisingly, it seems like Gohan's ahead. Not by a significant amount though. Super Saiyan has a much higher boost than what Goku has with Kaioken. But Goku has been intensely training over this time. Plus, he's been taking advantage of the higher gravity on King Kai's planet. Gohan has been training, but he hasn't seen significant gains. Goku's using Kaioken times 20 right now. So, from what Goku can tell, Gohan's not too far behind him in his base, but Super Saiyan gives him the edge thanks to the strength of it. Still, that's great. He's proud of his son, and he can't wait to get that form for himself. He did ask King Kai more about the Saiyans, and King Kai kinda clammed up. Goku learned what happened to them, but King Kai never mentioned Vegeta being out there, or the other Saiyans out there for that matter. First off, Vegeta's dead, so it doesn't really matter. Second, he doesn't want Goku going after Vegeta's army for a challenge. Even though he could probably fight a vast majority of the army, King Kai doesn't know the true strength of it. And besides, people can come back from the dead. A lot more time passes, up to the point when the androids are supposed to arrive. Okay, but that begs the question, what's happening with the time traveler and Goku having the heart virus? Well, no time traveler here. Why? Goku simply doesn't get the heart virus. We don't know how he got it exactly, and I kind of do this differently in each video, honestly whatever I think will make things more interesting, but also a lot has gone different for Goku, so unless the virus was something long dormant for him, he might just not contract it here, whether he got it from Earth, space, whatever people theorize. Point being, the butterfly effect caused Goku to maybe never even cross paths with the source of it. I personally don't believe he contracted it from space, but if you do, he never even went to space here. The only time he was off Earth was when he was on King Kai's planet. And you might think I'm missing out on an opportunity with future Trunks here, especially because he could have Vegeta's powers, but trust me, I'm not. Like I said, this is to make things more interesting, and if future Trunks were in this scenario, well, first of all, that wouldn't make sense, especially with where Vegeta is now in the story. Besides, if there were a time traveler here, it would probably be Gohan, if anything. Trunks might actually appear later on in the story. I actually haven't written that far yet as of the time of recording this. But especially at this point in the story, he's not going to show up at all. We'll see down the line if anything happens with him. Or any kid of Vegeta for that matter, because who knows, it might not even be Trunks. Simply put, Trunks wouldn't show up here, and I don't really need to do another story with future Gohan. He shows up in a lot of them. So, the androids appear, and it's 17 and 18 like normal. Without time travel, it's not going to lead to 19 and 20 appearing. They show up in some random city and cause havoc, with no one expecting them. And of course, this leads the entire group of the Z Fighters to fighting them. Now, there's one really big thing working in their favor here. The androids don't have data on Super Saiyan. Gero originally stopped gathering data right after the Saiyan saga, which obviously didn't happen here. And chronologically, if we compare the point when Gohan turned Super Saiyan in this story to the Saiyan saga, that would have happened after the fact. So Gero may have even stopped gathering data earlier on than normal. But even if he went up to the same point, regardless he's not going to have data on Super Saiyan. And in the original timeline, 17 and 18 were weaker than in the present timeline. Gero missed the Piccolo fight, missed Super Saiyan, and missed Goku coming back. Goku uses Kaioken for a bit, but then decides to stop holding back. He and Gohan both transform, showing off Super Saiyan. Goku does have the form right now. Thankfully, since he trained so much with Gohan, and the fact that he's able to replicate things so well, Goku got Super Saiyan pretty quickly. It only took him a few months after coming back. Not to mention this kills two birds with one stone. Goku training with Gohan not only let Goku learn about Super Saiyan, but it let Gohan learn more about how it functions, and Goku tried to work around that. They haven't mastered it yet by any means, but it has become a lot better. Gohan is also a more experienced and confident fighter here. He started training earlier than Goku ever did, and also has Goku's own knowledge and training. So, despite his age, Goku feels Gohan is as skilled as he was when he first went to see Kami. 17 and 18 are pretty tough opponents, but Goku and Gohan get serious once they realize how big of a threat they are, especially because the androids are hellbent on killing Goku. And they have infinite energy, so if this fight drags out, that will be a problem. I don't think it's going to be a completely easy battle, but thanks to the two of them fighting with perfect synergy and coordinating their attacks against the androids, they can definitely take them down one by one. So 17 and 18 are defeated. The other fighters watch on in disbelief. They did actually fight the androids for a bit, but were no challenge for them. Tien can't believe what he's seeing, and Yamcha feels like he's completely left in the dust, even though he's continued his own training. Bulma did give him some great training facilities, and he spent time training with Krillin. Even after Goku came back from King Kai, they built a gravity chamber, so that's been helpful. So the humans have all been training. And honestly, Krillin's not too surprised with the power he's witnessing. He's seen firsthand both the growth of Goku and Gohan. Still, even though he's seen it before, it's amazing to see in a real battle. But not long after the androids are defeated, everyone feels two really strong powers approaching, and clearly it's unrelated to the androids because they couldn't sense their power. 2 space pods land on Earth, and Goku, Gohan, and Krillin go over to where they sense it. Thankfully, they land in the middle of nowhere, so it doesn't destroy anything right away. 2 pretty large guys step out. It's Raditz and Nappa, and Raditz immediately recognizes his brother. He looks just like their father. Of course, Goku's really confused at first because he doesn't know what the other Saiyans look like, so even though he knows they exist, this is the first time he's ever seeing one in person. Not to mention, he wasn't even aware that he had a brother. Pretty quickly, Raditz finds out that Kakarot forgot a lot about his past, though he somehow knows he's a Saiyan now, which is weird. Raditz tries to get Kakarot to come along with them, but he's obviously not going to go, and he explains their mission. They're trying to revive their leader, the Prince of all Saiyans and now the Emperor of everything, Vegeta. Goku has no clue who this guy is, but Raditz gives a little more info. He also explains how strong Vegeta is and the fact that they know of some way to bring him back. As Raditz explains more, Goku and Krillin realize that he's talking about the Dragon Balls, but they don't know if he's actually here for the Dragon Balls or he just plans on going somewhere else for them. So Goku asks exactly where he plans to get these wish orbs. Raditz says that after researching a bit, he assumes that's how their last opponent got his power. He wished for it, and there's rumors of something called wish orbs made by Namekians. Now, Goku and Krillin don't say anything, but Goku actually learned from King Kai that Kami and Piccolo are Namekians. So there's more people like them out there, people that can make Dragon Balls. Anyways, Raditz's plan is that they're gonna go find Namek, but he wanted to stop by here first just to get an extra recruit. Raditz offers again. Goku's still not gonna join. He doesn't care about Vegeta, or the Saiyans for that matter. Besides, it doesn't necessarily seem like they're good guys either. The prospect of fighting someone strong like Vegeta sounds pretty cool, but he's not gonna go out of his way to revive someone who's potentially a big threat like that. Well, if Kakarot won't willingly go with them, they'll forcefully bring him with them. Raditz lunges in and immediately goes for Gohan, expecting to take him with no effort. This must be his nephew, right? But just as Raditz is about to lay a hand on him, Gohan vanishes, catching Raditz off guard with a punch. Now, this doesn't immediately overpower Raditz, but he was off guard. He didn't expect that power from this kid. And as Nappa was watching his scouter exploded, it seems like these Earthlings can hide their power, and then fully activate it whenever they feel. Goku gets ready for battle too, and just to deter them, he goes Super Saiyan, asking them if they have the same type of power. And they're immediately perplexed. That's like what Vegeta has, but somehow it's different. Kakarot seems a lot calmer, and weirdly enough, the kid transforms too. Is this something all Saiyans could use? And more importantly, why don't they have it if these two do? A brief fight ensues, and Goku easily defeats Nappa and Raditz. He suggests they leave if they're going to cause more trouble, and they don't really have any idea of what to do. Kakarot is far too strong for them to take, but he could still be a valuable asset. He is a Super Saiyan after all. That's what he called this form, and that's what they assumed Vegeta had. But why is it so different with Vegeta? They assumed it was something exclusive to him at first, but no. They're not sure if Kakarot's a threat to them, but they do know he's definitely not an ally. Well, it doesn't matter. They're just going to go after the wish orbs, if they even do exist, and they could definitely do that alone. They just wanted to have Kakarot on their side first, but if not, that's fine. Begrudgingly, the two of them retreat, going to Namek and looking for the wish orbs. Raditz really hopes these things exist because his research led them to this. Little does he know that they're just on a planet with Dragon Balls. He'll get Vegeta back. Krillin wonders if they should do anything about the other Saiyans, but Goku says to let them be. If there truly are more Dragon Balls out there and they're able to revive Vegeta, that's just more motivation for them to train and grow stronger. Besides, Vegeta's probably not as strong as they were saying. They thought they were pretty strong after all, and they got surprised by Super Saiyan. What they don't realize is that Raditz and Nappa's estimation of Vegeta's power was actually pretty accurate. Goku and Gohan may be stronger than those two, but Vegeta's far above anyone. But at least this gives everyone on Earth more motivation to train. On their way to Namek, Raditz and Nappa are discussing. Nappa wonders if they should tell Vegeta about Kakarot, and Raditz asks why. They definitely should tell him. But Nappa says it could set him off. Imagine if he knows there's another strong Saiyan out there, and he's a low-class one who's a Super Saiyan. Not to mention that kid too. Wouldn't that make them look really bad? If they tell Vegeta about Kakarot and Gohan, he'll ask why they weren't able to recruit them. Moreover, why those two are stronger than Raditz and Nappa. Yeah, maybe he's right. Again, they do have to walk on eggshells with Vegeta. Thankfully, this mission was done by them alone. No other soldiers came with them, and no one knows Kakarot's out there. If Vegeta found out, he'd probably find Nappa and Raditz useless. And even worse, he might get enraged, and they saw what happened last time he lost control. They arrive on Namek, and pretty much immediately, they terrorize it, asking about the Dragon Balls. It doesn't really take much effort. They feign being nice at first, saying they're here to revive a friend. But the Namekians see through this and can sense evil in their hearts. Fine, they'll do it the hard way then. The two of them go around different villages, learning a village elder will guard each Dragon Ball, so it doesn't make it too hard to find them, especially with their scouters. They just locate the villages, terrorize them until they find the Dragon Ball, and that's that. One warrior Namekian makes a stand against them. It's Nail, though his power isn't even nearly enough to fight them. But they don't kill him. They keep him as a hostage, especially because they don't know how to activate the Dragon Balls. They're going to need to keep someone alive as a translator. They also do get a hold of Dende, using him as a hostage too. In case one doesn't pan out, they have the other. By now, Guru has died and Mori's the elder. He's not going to willingly give up the Dragon Balls, but Nappa restrains Mori, and Raditz gets the final Dragon Ball. But Mori gets an idea, communicating with them. He tells Dende to make the wish, but then gives him a command for 2 other wishes. Thankfully, the Saiyans don't know that Porunga grants 3. So with no other option, Dende summons Porunga, and a wish is made to revive Vegeta. The Saiyans actually stopped by and got a bigger ship when they came here, the one with Vegeta's body on it. So after making the wish, their scouters light up, and they've kind of learned to sense Ki a little bit too, so they even feel Vegeta's presence a bit. He really is back, and he steps off the ship. Thankfully, they're just purely focused on Vegeta right now and thought they only had 1 wish. So as they're distracted by this, Dende makes 2 other wishes. First, quickly asking Porunga to make a new Namek, and for the second wish, asking to transport all the Namekians there. Before Vegeta even fully makes it off the ship, just as his feet hit the ground, the entire planet starts shaking. The Saiyans look over and see Porunga disappearing, and they see Nail launching a massive blast into the ground. The Namekians all then disappear too. Mori's plan worked. This way they have a new hidden planet, and all the remaining Namekians will go there. They'll revive the rest later. But unfortunately, they're trying to sacrifice their old planet too. They have no clue what these Saiyans are up to, but they definitely do want to try and kill them, so Nail detonates the planet. Raditz and Nappa are caught pretty off guard by this, not knowing what just happened. It looks like they had more wishes, but at least they got what they wanted. Vegeta's a little bit confused as to where he is and what's happened so far, but mostly he's just glad to be back and the fact that his body hasn't decomposed. Thankfully they had a crew recover it and keep it in good condition for his revival. But they need to go. They immediately get back on the ship, and just in the nick of time, they leave the planet right when it explodes. The Saiyans narrowly escape. That was a rush. Those Namekians are pretty smart for doing that. Had they been caught in the blast, they all would have died and this would have been for nothing. But Raditz and Nappa ask how Vegeta feels right now. Well, Vegeta did miss a lot of time. Though, he's glad Raditz and Nappa found out about the Dragon Balls. When he heard Granola wish for that power, he was hoping that they'd pick up on it. Had they not done it, he would have done so too. He would like to get the Dragon Balls for himself one day, maybe wishing for immortality or something. Though that's going to be pretty hard right now because they don't know where the Namekians went. At least they know they're out there though, and Vegeta's got a lot of unfinished business here. Plus, a lot of work to catch up on. It has been some time since he died after all. Now that he's alive again, Vegeta's first order of business is to recoup everything. Nappa did control the army pretty well over this time frame, even if a lot of them were lost in that last battle, but Vegeta needs to regrow it. Plus, he needs to grow stronger himself. He wants to control that power he had. He's come to realize now that he wasn't a Super Saiyan beforehand, but in that fight with Granola, he truly did become a Super Saiyan. He lost all control of himself though. Even with someone who had control over his anger, that power was too overwhelming. He needs to figure out how to tap into that again without going berserk. And at the very end of that battle, right before he died, even though he wasn't really focused on what was happening at the moment, there was still enough consciousness within him to realize that he attained a higher level of power. At that very last moment, there was some other limiter that was broken. And also, he does want to get revenge right now. But considering that last opponent was a little bit of a challenge for him, he's going to take some time to recoup and grow. A few months down the line, Vegeta eventually goes to Planet Cereal, expecting to see Granola here, but once his army descends on the planet, they don't find any sign of him. He's solely going here just to find Granola. He doesn't care about the planet itself. It's just about the principle. They search around the planet and can't find him at all. There's not a single Cerealian on this planet. Weirdly enough, there is a single Namekian, but otherwise it's a completely different species living on here. So either Granola's hiding or he's truly gone. Either way, Vegeta knows just how to bring him out. He creates a tiny ki blast in his hands and plants it into the ground. His army retreats and they all fly out into space. Pillars of light start erupting out of the planet. Vegeta just basically turned it into a time bomb, and from space, they watch the beautiful fireworks, with Vegeta laughing maniacally as the planet explodes. Though Vegeta knows that this wouldn't kill Granola. If he were on the planet, he would have been able to survive the explosion and possibly even survive in space based on the last fight. But if he's not on the planet, this will let Granola know that Vegeta's still out there, and coax him into another fight. So where is Granola right now? Well, he knew he messed up keeping Raditz and Nappa alive. He doesn't know what to expect from them. He did more training on his own with no wishes this time. He couldn't really do much of his training on Planet Cereal because first of all, he didn't want to disturb the peace there, and second of all, there wasn't really much training to do on this planet besides just training himself. He thought maybe he could learn some other things, so he ventured out into space. A few weeks after Cereal's destruction, Granola arrives back and sees nothing but debris. Actually, by this point, a lot of the debris has spread out, so there's not even that much left. His planet's completely gone, as well as everybody on it, including Monaido. He gets to the first stage of grief, denial, thinking that this isn't even real, but he slowly comes to realize what happened. Vegeta, or his army, whoever it may be, somebody came here and destroyed the planet. It's a direct attack on him. Everything is gone. He can't even get the Dragon Balls to bring things back because Monaido's gone. The Dragon Balls on the planet are gone. Is everything gone for good? He contained his rage and sadness for now, wondering what his next move will be. He's glad that he's been training because that tells him that the army is still a problem, and he's going to have to deal with that no matter what. He's going to kill those Saiyans at any cost. Assuming it was just Raditz and Nappa that did this, but who knows? Maybe Vegeta is back. I mean, The Dragon Balls exist after all, and clearly someone was on this planet, so who knows if they got the Dragon Balls here and revived Vegeta or something. But what's he supposed to do now? He wants to bring back this planet, so where should he even go for that? I mean, I don't mention that Namekians are elsewhere. Of course, there's planet Namek, but there's other Namekians on other planets. He just doesn't really know where to look. Let's go back to Earth for now. A few years passed since the androids attacked. Goten was born, and around this point, let's say Gohan just hit his growth spurt, like just about a week ago, just so I can start using different renders of him. For a time frame, this is like a year before the Buu Saga starts, so I think that's reasonable. Goku and Gohan have spent their time training, knowing that the Saiyans are out there and might come back eventually, maybe even with Vegeta, whoever that guy is. But one day they feel a strong power approaching towards Earth. It's different this time. It's not the Saiyans, and it's not necessarily an evil power. There's malice within it, but it's not as intense as what they felt with the Saiyans. But as the power approaches, it then suppresses itself. Goku's really great at sensing ki, so he felt this right off the bat. Clearly it's someone trying to hide themselves. But Goku waits at home, knowing that he's probably going to face a challenge soon. Little does he know, this power actually does come closer to him. Granola is looking for Dragon Balls, but doesn't necessarily know where to begin. He's done research, and even infiltrated Vegeta's army for data, basically doing all the spying he can. He found out Vegeta's still alive, and, more importantly, he found out that there was a secret mission to Earth, as well as one to Namek. These missions from Raditz and Nappa were logged, but there's no extra info about them, and it was immediately after these two missions that Vegeta got brought back to life. Namek is no more, but Earth is still around. So why did those two Saiyans go to Earth? What was so important that they had to keep it secret? And why did Vegeta come back right after that? Clearly Namek would have Namekians, but Granola tried to find that planet and he couldn't find Namek. After more research, he found where Earth is, and he can't tell for sure, but there might be a Namekian here. Maybe that's why those Saiyans went here, because he doesn't have any other reason of why they'd want to go to this planet, and why they haven't been back since. It's just all so weird, the timing of it and everything. But knowing that Namekians are on other planets, he decides to check this out. It's a long shot, but it might be worth it. He goes after the first strong power he could find, which ends up leading him right to Goku's house. He arrives, watching from a distance, still concealing his power. Out front, he sees a man standing there. He looks like he's ready for something. He's also practicing movements, and he takes a look into Goku's window, and immediately his eyes widen. There's no way. Sitting right there in a little shrine, it looks to be a Dragon Ball. It's bigger than the ones he's seen on Planet Cereal, and it also has 4 stars, which tells him a few things. For one, there's obviously Dragon Balls here. He didn't expect to find out about it that soon. Second, unlike Cereal having 2 Dragon Balls, there's at least 4 of them here. And third, that means the Saiyans must have come here to revive Vegeta or something. And maybe them going to Namek with Namek disappearing right after, that was them destroying the planet to ensure there were no Dragon Balls left, and this is like their secret stash or something. He doesn't know for sure, but he gets a closer look at the guy out front, and something about him feels familiar. He can't really put his finger on it, but the hairstyle, he feels he's seen it before. But he gets a closer look and realizes that it's a Saiyan. There's even a younger man inside, and he has a tail. This is actually Gohan. He's kept his tail because it just never got cut off here. And this immediately sets Granola off. There's Saiyans living here, and they have Dragon Balls. He can't believe his idea worked. It led him right to what he wanted, and it let him find more Saiyans. Goku is training in the front of his house. A stray ki blast then comes towards him. He immediately powers up as quickly as possible, blocking it. The blast wasn't necessarily powerful, but it feels almost like it was some sort of sniper shot, fired from really far away. More then start coming out of the forest. And Goku flies towards Granola. Some of the blasts hit him and they really do hurt. They're not full power blasts, but they hit him at weak points. And right after he turned Super Saiyan, those blasts got stronger and stronger, so Goku powers up even further, showing off Super Saiyan 2. He then finds Granola, and the two start clashing. Goku's not sure who this guy is or why he's here, but clearly he's here for a fight. And Granola says he knows he's one of Vegeta's henchmen. He says to give him info on the Dragon Balls and maybe he'll spare him. Of course, this confuses Goku immediately. This random guy comes here trying to kill him, asking about the Dragon Balls, and accusing him of working for Vegeta. Granola powers up and both his eyes turn red, something he unlocked amidst the fight with Vegeta. He then strikes Goku directly on a pressure point, which really hurts him. Granola won't say it again. One more chance. Tell him about the Dragon Balls. Goku asks why he's even looking for them, and Granola tells him to not act stupid. They destroyed his planet. He knows it. Stop playing dumb. He tells Granola he's got the wrong idea. He doesn't work for Vegeta or anything. But clearly he does. He's a Saiyan. The Saiyans came here. He even has the same form as Vegeta. Wait, Vegeta has Super Saiyan 2? And how does he even know Vegeta? He doesn't actually have Super Saiyan 2. Granola just saw golden hair and thought it was the same thing. Granola has been training since his last battle, and the witch did make him pretty strong, so even with Goku having Super Saiyan 2 at this point, it's going to be really tough for him. Although he does have some help. Gohan is nearby and he jumps in, also in Super Saiyan 2. It did bring a little rage out of Gohan, so his power immediately flared up as he flew outside. It even caught Granola off guard, and Goku was a bit surprised to feel his strength too. It's been a while since he's seen Gohan's rage like that. But thanks to all his great training, he has better control of it and can tap into it more easily when he needs it. With Gohan's help, it's a bit better, but Granola starts fighting a lot more seriously. He even begins using weird abilities like cloning himself, teleporting around, things like that. He actually has spirit control. The time he spent off planet, it was actually on Yardrat. He discovered that in an effort to grow stronger, and he spent about a year there after Vegeta's defeat. Goku and Gohan try to get Granola to calm down because clearly he has the wrong idea here. They don't want to kill him, but they will if they need to, because Granola's out for the kill and he's trying to get the Dragon Balls for himself. It sounds like he's trying to bring a planet back though, so it's not like it's for a bad purpose. Who knows though. Granola asks why this Saiyan is here and has this Dragon Ball in his possession, and Goku tells Granola again, he has nothing to do with the Saiyans. He is a Saiyan, but he's completely denounced them. They came back here. They're his enemies if anything. And that Dragon Ball is a reminder of his grandpa Gohan. The three continue fighting, and Goku tries something that might be a bit risky, but he goes for it anyways. He tells Granola he'll tell him about the Dragon Balls if he calms down for a bit. At this point in the battle, Granola doesn't believe him, but Goku then powers down just to make sure Granola trusts him. Gohan thinks this is kind of insane to do and really risky, but you know what? He goes along with it too. And this does get Granola to stop fighting for a bit. Goku starts to explain everything. They're against Vegeta too. Granola's completely got the wrong idea. As far as he knows, Vegeta's not even alive now, but the Saiyans did come here to Earth before and they were seeking the Dragon Balls. They didn't know the Dragon Balls were on Earth, but they did know that there was some way to get wishes. The Saiyans actually came here to recruit him, and Goku turned it down, fighting them too. He doesn't mention that Raditz is his brother because that would just make his case look even worse. And Granola hears more of Goku's story, how he came here and why a Saiyan is on Earth in the first place. But it sounds like he's encountered Vegeta before. So Vegeta is a Super Saiyan, right? Granola doesn't know what a Super Saiyan is, but he saw Vegeta with the same golden hair that Goku has, although his form was a little different. He seemed completely uncontrolled, and at one point in the battle, his hair even turned green. Wait, green hair? That's weird, like they have Super Saiyan 2, but they've never seen each other with green hair. And now Goku's pretty worried. Maybe Raditz and Nappa truly weren't underestimating his power. Maybe Vegeta really was as strong as they implied. And who knows? And according to Granola, Vegeta actually is back. Planet Namek was destroyed. It sounds like Raditz and Nappa went there after Earth, and that's where they got the Dragon Balls to revive him. It takes a lot of discussion, but Goku and Gohan handle it pretty well. They get Granola to cool down, and he does come to see that he jumped to some conclusions here. Granted, they were somewhat reasonable conclusions, but he was too blinded by anger to even consider other options. What he's come to find out is that these two actually might be allies to him if anything. Now, they're not going to attack Vegeta directly, but they have been training in preparation of fighting Raditz and Nappa again, if not Vegeta. So they kind of have the same goal in a way. And hearing that Granola's home is gone, Goku even invites him to stay on this planet. It's safe. There's a lot of strong people like them around, and they all have the same enemies. Granola's not really too sure. It's not like he could really trust Goku, but Goku will earn that trust. He could tell Granola's not a bad guy. The motives for his anger are actually pretty sensible. He gets that, and he wants to help out. Granola eventually ends up staying on Earth, and he is able to get the Dragon Balls, wishing for Planet Cereal to come back, though that just brings the planet back. Next year he'll have to wish to bring the inhabitants back. But it's good to know that the Dragon Balls are here, so he's going to stick around for another year. Over this time, Gohan eventually goes to school, meets Videl, and Mr. Satan's actually still considered a world champion and a hero here because he took credit for defeating the androids back then. But anyways, we eventually get to the tournament before the Buu Saga. Shin and Kibito are there, and a lot of things start normally. It takes a lot of convincing, but Goku gets Granola to join the tournament. It's a good way to make sure he doesn't get rusty, and maybe he could pick up on some things. Spopovich and Yamu crash everything, they're able to get energy from Gohan pretty much the same way as before, and then everyone goes after them. The biggest differences here are, Krillin's not with Android 18, so he's actually been training a bunch over this time, and obviously Vegeta's not here, but Granola is. And no Trunks, I guess. They fly over to Babidi's ship, and eventually fight Dabra. Granola actually acts quick enough to prevent Kibito's death too, facing Dabra alone, and taking him out pretty quickly. Although Goku's a bit bummed because he wanted to fight a bit. They go into the ship, and Goku fights Pui Pui. Gohan then fights Yakon, and finds the same way around his ability just like Goku did. Babidi's getting pretty panicked because he has just over half the energy he needs. He didn't get a ton of energy from Dabra's fight, nor from Pui Pui or Yakon's. So, with no other option, he tries to take over Granola. There is some resentment and evil in his heart, but it's not enough, and he's not willingly going to give in to this. Shin tries to get him to resist it, and Goku reminds him that if Majin Buu is unleashed, they can't stop Vegeta. It'll just create another threat they have to worry about. Granola resists, and even though he was vulnerable, he didn't give in like Vegeta did. And immediately after resisting Babidi's spell, he powers up to his maximum, looks down at the ground with both of his eyes turning red again, and it looks like he fired a ki blast at random, but it wasn't at random. It pierced right through each floor, hitting Babidi head on and killing him right away. His vision combined with Sense and Ki kind of gave him X-ray vision in a way. Not completely, but he located Babidi immediately and took him out just like that. Shin thanks all of them for their help, and Goku asks about Vegeta, with Shin saying that he definitely is still alive and probably growing a lot stronger than before. He might be the biggest threat to the universe right now. So, now on to Goku's next question. he wants to train under Shin and Kibito. He sees that they're really strong, and it's kind of the next step up from King Kai when he thinks about it. Shin and Kibito are surprised to hear this. He trained under the North Kaio. Well, they're a lot farther above him than Goku realizes, but Shin's up for it. Kibito's a little hesitant, but Goku and Granola end up going to the Sacred World of Kai. It's the least they could do to repay them for stopping Buu after all. Gohan has to stay here on Earth, but they actually end up bringing someone else along with them, Krillin. He wants to go too. He's devoted himself fully to training, and sadly he doesn't have a family here, so a lot more free time. He wants to keep up with his best friend, and also make sure he's strong enough to help fight Vegeta. So the three of them go to the Sacred World of Kai. Out in space, Vegeta's working to further control his power. It took years, but he's finally done it. Not just Super Saiyan, but the green-haired Super Saiyan form that he has, which he just calls his full power. That's controlled as well. And just as this happens, an alarm goes off on Beerus' planet. Goku, Granola, and Krillin continue their training on the Sacred World of Kai. It doesn't take too long for Goku to free the Z-Sword, and they all start training with that. And it also doesn't take too long for him to break the Z-Sword, which of course ends up freeing Elder Kai. Elder Kai learns of everything that's happened, and also the fact that there's a really strong Saiyan out there. He's been sealed away for so long that he doesn't really have an idea of what Vegeta truly is. But it makes him wonder if he's some sort of mutated Saiyan, and for that reason, they're probably at a disadvantage by default. Thankfully he has a solution for that. He could draw out people's power. Krillin and Granola of course go for this. Granola has no qualms with it, and Krillin wants to catch up to everyone else, and this is the best way to do so. Goku typically wouldn't go for this, but Elder Kai wants to perform the ritual on him first just to see how strong he can get. Especially because he's also a Saiyan, and maybe he can unlock the same type of power, just to rule out what Vegeta truly has. So the ultimate ritual is done on Goku, and he doesn't really like that he can't work for the power, but at least it's a good way to test some things out. Maybe he has the same type of power locked away, and of course he doesn't. So we have Ultimate Goku, Krillin, and Granola. Goku also knows that Gohan's potential is pretty high, and he doesn't really know how much time Gohan has to train anymore, so maybe it would be valuable for him to do this. He brings Gohan here, and Elder Kai feels like he's just being used at this point. But he performs the ritual on Gohan too, and he actually does have a lot of potential locked away. This ritual works best on him. Right now I'd say Gohan's the strongest, but not by a really large margin. Goku and Granola are about even. Though I will say, I feel like Granola has a ton of potential locked away, especially with how the wish to make him stronger affected him in canon. Granted, that one needed to compress his life, but I feel like there's still enough in there where the ultimate ritual would be pretty beneficial for him. But there is something else we need to cover here. Of course, the last part ended with Beerus waking up, right around the time when Vegeta controlled his power. So, Beerus does wake up earlier than normal, by a few years actually, because this is right after the Buu saga. By this point, a few months have passed since Babidi's defeat. Beerus had actually dreamt of a rival. He wasn't really too sure what he was looking for, but he knows it's something godly. And he knows there actually is a really strong Saiyan out there. Whis tells him about Vegeta. So naturally, he goes to find him. What he finds is that there's actually 3 Saiyans, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz. Nappa and Raditz have actually become Super Saiyans by this point. After fighting Goku and Gohan on Earth, they realized that they could probably get the form for themselves, and they weren't really too sure where to begin, and it took a lot of trial and error, but now they're Super Saiyans. Although, it doesn't really amount to much because they're really far behind Vegeta at this point. Still, it at least makes them better than before. And Beerus could tell that these two definitely aren't his rivals, so he tries fighting Vegeta. Vegeta actually does vaguely remember Beerus. There was a time when he showed up on planet Vegeta, and this was one of the few times where Vegeta's power almost flared up, but of course his father taught him to hide that power. Though now, he has no reason to contain it. He transforms, going into his full power Super Saiyan. And Beerus is a little intrigued by this. The other 2 Super Saiyans have golden hair. Why is Vegeta's green? He's not too sure himself, but he was always born with this great potential. He assumed it's because he's an elite warrior. That always set him apart from others, and he was basically destined to be this strong. And if Beerus is dreaming of a rival, it has to be Vegeta. But as Beerus fights him, he comes to see that the rival actually isn't Vegeta. The timing of this was directly caused by Vegeta, though. So Vegeta did contribute to waking Beerus up early. But Beerus is a bit disappointed to find out that he's not the rival he was looking for. Now, Vegeta is really strong, but he loses this battle, and Beerus could clearly see that this power is not what he's looking for. He asks if there are any other Saiyans out there, and Vegeta, Raditz, and Nappa know of none. Well, Raditz and Nappa do know of one, but they're gonna keep it quiet for now. But Whis ends up looking, and he finds that there's another Saiyan out there too. He's actually with the Supreme Kai right now. Vegeta and his crew obviously don't know who the Supreme Kai is, but Vegeta's really confused. Why is there another Saiyan out there that he didn't know about? Of course, he knew Tarble was out there, but there shouldn't be any other Saiyans left. Raditz and Nappa hold their tongues because, of course, they know about Goku and Gohan, but it's a little bit too late to spill the beans. Beerus commends Vegeta for his power. He might be back. His power was amazing, but not godly. For all he knows, Vegeta might be his true rival, but he's going to test out this other Saiyan first. Now, Vegeta has better control of his form, but he hasn't fought much otherwise recently. And he's clearly not fit to be a god. Beerus leaves Vegeta alive as a consolation for the fight, thanking him for it, and also because he could be an interesting rival in the future in case this other Saiyan isn't that strong. And now Vegeta's left dumbfounded. For the first time in a while, he was actually defeated by somebody. He grew a lot during battle, but Beerus was so much stronger than him that he couldn't even begin to close that gap. But more important, there's another Saiyan out there. Who the hell is it, and how is he still alive? And he doesn't know what a Supreme Kai is, but the way Beerus and Whis described it, it sounded like he was some sort of a god, so why is this Saiyan with a god? Raditz and Nappa don't mention anything about Goku because Vegeta will know that he's Raditz's brother. But Vegeta's going to start searching for this Saiyan now. It's not going to be his main objective, but he will be scouting around. They probably shouldn't have hid it from Vegeta. They didn't expect Whis to reveal that, and actually, when Whis revealed it, he looked at Raditz and Nappa like he knew that they knew the other Saiyan. Now they've kind of dug themselves into a hole. Before they hid Kakarot's existence to avoid angering Vegeta, but now he knows about it and they have to hide that they know about it. Anyways, Beerus ends up going to the sacred world of Kai, terrifying the Kais there, especially Elder Kai, because Beerus was the one to seal him away. Beerus does find it a bit annoying that he's been freed, but he wants to fight the Saiyans here. Though, there's only one Saiyan here. There's another on Earth, Gohan. He's not here at the moment. Right now it's just Goku, Granola, and Krillin. He doesn't even bother with Krillin or Granola. He's looking for his Super Saiyan God, and he hopes that's what Goku is. I mean, it sounded intriguing. He's another strong Saiyan, and he's training under the Supreme Kai. From what Whis found out, he even trained under the North Kaio before. A Super Saiyan with godly training sure sounds like a good candidate for a Super Saiyan God, so there's only one way to find out. Goku utilizes the ultimate in his fight. This draws out all of his power, even latent power that he didn't know was there. Goku was actually on the cusp of Super Saiyan 3, but it's not like he even needs to use that anymore. Everything gets drawn out in Ultimate. He could lower and raise his power as much as he wants if he ever wants to hold back, but he uses everything against Beerus. And Beerus could tell that Goku is strong by mortal standards, but he's behind Vegeta, by a pretty big margin too. He lets them know that he actually did just fight Vegeta, and Vegeta doesn't know about his existence. Okay, well, that's at least kind of a good thing, but it also confuses Goku because Raditz and Nappa did come to see him. Beerus also says he's probably going to go back to fight Vegeta because these people can't impress him. Maybe they need more training under the Supreme Kai. But Goku has an idea. They could ask Shenron for help. So, they go back to Earth, gather the Dragon Balls, and they summon Shenron. The wish is simple. Tell them everything about the Super Saiyan God. Shenron tells them what the Super Saiyan God is and how to create one. Of course, they don't have enough Saiyans. Now, there are Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta out in space. And on Earth there's Goku, Gohan, and Goten. But based on how Shenron describes the ritual, Vegeta's crew probably wouldn't be fit for that. And Shenron is terrified by Beerus' presence. So when Beerus asks if there's another way to bring about the Super Saiyan God, he tells him that no other way has been recorded, but it's a Saiyan that's become a god, so maybe through training. But Shenron isn't entirely sure, and he's really scared right now, so he disappears. Beerus didn't think of that. Maybe he could just train for Super Saiyan God. Maybe there's a way for him to pick up on that without him doing the ritual. It's not like they really have a choice after all. So Beerus is going to test something out. He's going to have Goku come with him, and he'll give him 6 months. He's going to train under Whis, and if he doesn't unlock Super Saiyan God in those 6 months, well, Beerus is going to erase him for wasting his time, and then he'll go back to Vegeta and make him his rival. This gives Goku a good challenge. He's going to get some great training, and Beerus threatening to destroy him gives him a ton of motivation for it too. But it's only Goku that's going to that planet. Though he does ask Beerus, if Vegeta is much stronger than him, why is he not taking Vegeta as a rival? Beerus could tell that Vegeta would be an interesting fighter, but he thinks this is a more fun route. He doesn't know if Vegeta has it in him to become a Super Saiyan God. But on top of that, if he makes Goku strong, and he has Vegeta as a motivator as well as a competitor, he's basically going to have 2 rivals. So besides him not thinking Vegeta's fit for it, it also gives him abundance. Goku goes with Beerus. Krillin stays on the Sacred World of Kai to train more, and Granola ends up going back to Cereal. Shin and Kibito offer to take him directly there, but he's going to fly back. He goes to Earth and gets his ship, gathering all his belongings on Earth and heading home. As he flies back, he takes some more time to explore too. And weirdly enough, he feels a really strong presence out in space as he's coming back to his planet. He passes by a small solar system, and he feels a really strong power there. He asks Oatmeal to analyze what's going on, and Oatmeal says there's a really strong person on one of the planetoids over there. And as Oatmeal analyzes the planetoid, it seems like it's completely devoid of life, so that makes no sense. Granola's not really too sure if this is a good idea, but he goes to check it out. According to Oatmeal, this planetoid is called Vampa. Granola lands there, and he's immediately met by an older man. This is Paragus. By now, he might have not begun his rapid aging just yet, but he's definitely starting to age a bit at least. Plus, from being on Vampa for so long, he's not really in good condition in general. Granola can immediately pick up on the fact that he has a tail. This guy's a Saiyan? And then, another Saiyan flies towards Granola. Granola thinks he's about to attack and gets ready, but he's actually attacking a bug that's nearby. Paragus says that's his son, Broly. and he explains how they got here. So these two are Saiyans, and weirdly enough, the only reason they're alive is because they got betrayed by the other Saiyans. He comes to learn that Paragus specifically hates King Vegeta, so it looks like Granola shares something in common with him, though he doesn't realize that all the Saiyans have basically been killed, and the only people left out there are Vegeta, Raditz, Nappa, and then Goku. Of course, Tarble too, but Granola doesn't know about that. Otherwise, anyone from planet Vegeta is dead, and Granola lets Paragus know that Vegeta is still out there. Granola's not really sure if he should help these two, but he's just generally not trustworthy of Saiyans in general, even though he's warmed up to Goku. But the two of them have a common enemy. Plus, he empathizes with their plight. Even though it was all in different ways, he, Paragus, and Broly were all screwed over by the Saiyans. So, he decides to take them off this planet. He doesn't invite them to come to Cereal with him, but he'll give them the resources to go somewhere else. Although he warns them, don't go after Vegeta. His power is far too strong for them. Granola actually knows two Super Saiyans, and he feels like even them together wouldn't be enough to fight Vegeta, who is also a Super Saiyan himself. And they've even gone beyond Super Saiyan, having their potential unlocked, so even though Paragus wants his revenge, Granola thinks they best not do it right now. But Paragus is confident in his son's strength. What they don't realize is that Broly and Vegeta are actually pretty similar. Years pass. Vegeta continues looking for the other Saiyans out there but can't find anybody. There's no Resurrection F thanks to Vegeta being around, and Goku eventually gets Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue, which of course is great because he avoids being destroyed by Beerus. About a year after Goku starts his training, he gets in contact with Granola again. Paragus and Broly are actually now living on planet Cereal. It was supposed to be temporary, but as Granola got to know them more, he decided to welcome them here, and he's actually been training with Broly, who seems pretty strong himself. Goku's amazed to hear that there's another Saiyan out there, so immediately he wants to go and meet Broly, which he does. He seems pretty unrefined as a fighter, but he grows pretty quickly. And now, Paragus doesn't really like this, seeing another Saiyan out there, but Granola assures him that this Saiyan is not aligned with Vegeta at all. Thing is, Paragus just kinda hates the Saiyans in general, and he's trained Broly to be the same. So off the bat, they don't really trust Goku much, but after seeing how different his demeanor is from the other Saiyans, Paragus holds Broly back from attacking him. Eventually, the Universe 6 tournament comes up. The team for this is going to be Goku, Krillin, Gohan, Granola, and Broly. Broly's still pretty inexperienced compared to the other people there, but Goku was pretty impressed with his adaptation. Although one weird thing he noticed is that Broly seems to derive power from rage. It's strange. Gohan's kind of the same way, and from what Granola said, Vegeta seems to be the same way too. Though for Gohan it's a bit different. For Broly, it's pretty much exactly the same as what Vegeta gets his power from. Those two are mutated in the same way. And by now, Paragus has heard about this from Granola too. That's why Broly was sent away. King Vegeta was worried about that power. Prince Vegeta must have had the same type of power, and he thought Broly would overshadow that. Well, the joke's on King Vegeta. He's gonna train Broly to be the strongest warrior ever, stronger than Vegeta. The Universe 6 tournament is pretty much a wash. Broly's the first one up, and he takes down everyone there up until when he fights Hit. Hit pushes him into using more power, which eventually causes Broly to get enraged, going into his wrathful state. And Hit's perplexed by this. Broly's adapting so quickly, and he's growing stronger while he's at it too. Beerus is a bit impressed too. Weird, this is almost exactly what he saw with Vegeta. He even did get to see his wrathful form too. It's the same thing. Broly continues growing and growing, and eventually Hit breaks out more of his power. Before Broly snaps even further, Hit's able to knock him out, winning the fight. Next, he's up against Goku. And now, Goku has Super Saiyan God and Blue, which are both imbued in his ultimate form. So this Goku is actually stronger than the Goku in canon by this point. But it's not just that. He's figured out a way to go beyond Blue too. He was thinking about combining Kaioken with Blue, but since he has Ultimate drawing out the power of Blue anyways, he just combines the power with that. And it's a lot more usable that way. Ultimate isn't very strenuous to him, so it's really just like using regular Kaioken. He defeats Hit by using Ultimate Kaioken, ending the fight and impressing Beerus even further. But that was an interesting experience seeing Broly's power. He can't wait to see more of it, as well as Vegeta's power too. Vegeta continues his search, trying to find this other Saiyan. Now of course Raditz and Nappa aren't saying anything, but they are a bit concerned because once Vegeta does find Kakarot, well, it'll probably come to light that they knew about his existence. So they try and keep their distance from this operation. Vegeta wants them to find the Saiyan, but they kind of coax Vegeta into doing it himself, thinking it would be better, faster, and more fulfilling if he were the one searching for Goku. And Vegeta ends up agreeing. But weirdly enough, in his search, he comes across something unexpected. Planet Cereal's back. First of all, how? Second of all, does that mean Granola's there? It's the only thing he could think of. Vegeta is immediately enraged, wanting to seek him out again. So, Vegeta descends upon the planet, with Raditz and Nappa following along. This is a weird encounter. Vegeta searches around and sends his troops out too, trying to find Granola as quick as they can. Granola noticed from far away that there was a power approaching the planet, so he's ready for this. He didn't expect it to happen this soon, but he's keeping a low profile right now. At the moment, Broly's actually with him, and knowing how badly things went last time, Granola feels he might have to actually get Goku in on this too. Granola of course has ultimate for himself right now too, making him pretty powerful, but he probably would need the backup here. But as he tries to keep a low profile with Broly, Broly then snaps. His whole life he was basically brainwashed to hate Vegeta after all, so the second he actually sees him, he wants to go into fight. Paragus is hiding nearby too, and he is a bit concerned about what's going to happen since he's heard what Vegeta's power is like. Apparently it's very similar to Broly's, but Paragus is still confident in his son. Granola tries to keep a cool head, though it's kinda hard to restrain Broly, so Broly launches out towards Vegeta. Vegeta's instantly surprised because he didn't expect to find a Saiyan here. Broly is very clearly a Saiyan, and he thinks that this is the one that Whis was talking about, because what other Saiyan could it be? Raditz and Nappa are surprised too. They haven't seen this guy before, and it seemed like Whis was definitely talking about Kakarot, but this is completely foreign to them, so thankfully they have nothing to hide. Broly and Vegeta begin fighting, and right off the bat, Vegeta can clearly see that Broly's kinda similar to him. He's growing as he fights, he's being overtaken by his rage, so Vegeta keeps the battle going on. Interesting. He thought this was a unique mutation to him. Maybe it's more common than he thought. What he doesn't realize is that he and Broly are the only two like this, at least in Universe 7. No other Saiyan has the same type of power as them, and Broly hasn't even accessed his full power yet. Thanks to training, he actually does have somewhat of a grasp on his anger, but it's always been a touchy thing, so the people training with him haven't really gone too far with it. Vegeta turns Super Saiyan, and so does Broly. Interestingly, Vegeta's just a normal Super Saiyan. He's not using his full power. When Broly transforms, he's completely enraged. He can't control his actions. And Vegeta remembers being like that when he initially transformed. But bad news for Broly, Vegeta has a control on his power. He's not sure if he wants to kill Broly just yet, so he powers up into his full power, taking on the green-haired form now. And full power is not even a really accurate name for it. He's gone beyond this, basically getting his own version of Super Saiyan 2. But just with this, he's able to completely overwhelm Broly, finishing the fight and knocking him unconscious. He looks around, trying to see if anyone else is here, not realizing that Paragus is nearby. But it's all so weird. Why is another Saiyan on planet Cereal of all places, and why is Cereal even back? Surely Granola's hiding nearby, isn't he? And he's not actually hiding nearby. In the time that this fight was going on, Granola made the decision to teleport to Earth, trying to get help as soon as possible just to make sure Broly doesn't die. So pretty much right after Broly's defeat, he teleports in with Goku and Gohan on his side. Raditz and Nappa turn pale. Oh crap, they didn't want to encounter those two, so they try and hide themselves and stay on a ship in the atmosphere. Partially because they know they can't fight them, and partially because if they make any sort of contact, Vegeta will probably find out that they knew about them. This leaves Vegeta really confused. There's another Saiyan? And not just that, it actually looks like there's two of them. One looks to be the kid of the other. And then of course Granola's there too, which he's known about. He knew Granola was out there. So somehow this planet came back and Granola allied with three other Saiyans that Vegeta never knew about. Four if you count Paragus because he doesn't know Paragus is there. Goku introduces himself as Goku, though Vegeta might know him as Kakarot. It's strange, this Saiyan definitely doesn't seem like a Saiyan, but he knows his name. And Goku's about to spill the beans that he actually met Raditz, but thankfully Vegeta cuts him off, not wanting to hear any speeches. He gets ready to fight. He just wants to test the Saiyan's power. Goku, Gohan, and Granola all power up into Ultimate, while Vegeta is still in his green-haired full power form. But right away, Vegeta immediately targets Granola, flying right past the other two Saiyans, and with a single attack, almost sends him flying out into the atmosphere. This doesn't knock Granola out, but it does hurt him pretty bad, and it's basically just to remove him from the battlefield, just so Vegeta doesn't have to deal with him. He'll personally kill Granola later on. He simply doesn't want Granola involved in this battle. Vegeta doesn't summon all the power he has right away, but even so, this form alone is enough to contend with both Goku and Gohan at once. The two of them combined actually do slightly surpass him, but that's because it's two fighters using Ultimate at the same time, and Goku of course has Godly Ki, and can activate Kaioken if he needs, which he doesn't actually use here. They do see Broly nearby. He looks pretty beat up, but thankfully Granola teleports in, trying to remove him from the battle, but Vegeta instantly notices this and launches a blast over at both of them. So, it looks like Granola could teleport. He didn't know that was a thing he could do. He's more annoying than he thought. Vegeta gets away from both Goku and Gohan, and goes over to Granola to attack him, ready to land a killing blow. Granola quickly charges up a shot, hitting Vegeta in one of his vital points, which briefly stuns him for about a second, just enough time for Granola to get out of the way. He is really strong right now, but behind Goku and Gohan, and taking on a full power attack would surely kill him, especially because Vegeta definitely wants to kill him at this point. He quickly grabs Broly and moves him out of the way, teleporting over to where Minato is. Raditz and Nappa are watching nearby, but Granola then teleports up to them, fighting them and easily defeating the two of them. Raditz is pretty torn, knowing Vegeta might go crazy if he finds out that they know the other two Saiyans. They've dug themselves too deep by now, but they have no allegiance to those other two Saiyans, so maybe there is another way out of this by killing them somehow. Granola knows this too, it's pretty easy to tell, and he blackmails them. Get Vegeta to leave right now, or Granola will tell him their secret. He thought that Vegeta already knew that they knew the other Saiyans, but clearly not. Who does this guy think he is? Well, Granola is stronger than both of them at this point, by a pretty big margin, but mainly he sees no way to actual victory here. Vegeta is really powerful. With the three of them fighting together, they might have a shot, but he could tell Vegeta is still holding back. But maybe these two will be able to get him to leave somehow. He just wants this planet to be peaceful. He doesn't want to see it destroyed again. As Goku and Gohan fight together, somebody else rejoins the battle. It's Broly. He powers up, trying to tap into Super Saiyan again, but only goes into Wrathful for the time being. And just as he's about to attack Vegeta, Vegeta transforms once more. Sparks of electricity form around him. Goku and Gohan recognize it as Super Saiyan 2. It's different than theirs, but clearly that's what it's supposed to be for Vegeta. This entire time, he had more power. And as he powers up, he forms a Keyblade around his hand. Broly lunges at Vegeta, but he quickly moves out of the way, parrying the attack and stabbing Broly right through the chest. Broly instantly powers down, falling to the ground lifeless as Vegeta says there can only be one. An enraged Paragus watches from nearby, though he knows he can't do anything. He wants to kill Vegeta with his own hands, but that's a pipe dream. But still, it would be cowardly to not fight. And in a fit of rage, he rushes in. Briefly, Vegeta is surprised to see another Saiyan here, but clearly this one isn't that strong. Paragus can't even land a single attack. Vegeta simply lifts another hand up, launching a blast and incinerating him. Goku and Gohan are stunned seeing Broly killed. Granted, he wasn't at his full strength just there, but they saw so much potential in him, only for it to be snuffed out like this. And to Goku, he was a friend. Goku's rage slowly begins to grow, and so does Gohan's. Vegeta then focuses all his efforts on Goku. Though he's not going to kill him outright like those two, he wants to enjoy this a little more. And seeing this, Gohan could feel his anger bubbling up. He knows he has more power locked away in him to help. He and Goku can't win this fight. It pains him to be so weak to not be able to fight Vegeta, but also to see those around him get hurt. Broly's already dead. Granola and his whole planet are at risk. And now he's watching Vegeta fight his father. More anger courses through Gohan's veins. Vegeta does want to beat up Goku one-on-one, and Gohan tries to interfere, but Vegeta reacts quickly, saying it's a big mistake. In that brief moment, he sensed Gohan's power grow a little bit, but he's had his fun with that other Saiyan. Vegeta hits Goku with a devastating gut punch, stunning him for a little bit, then turning around, launching a full power blast at Gohan, piercing right through his torso. The injured Goku tries to recuperate, wanting to stop this, but he watches as Vegeta walks up slowly to Gohan, standing over him as he bleeds out on the ground, and then Vegeta looks over at Goku, smirking as he launches another blast, incinerating Gohan. Goku stops moving for a second, with Vegeta laughing as he walks back up to him. Granola's watching from far above. Something's wrong. Everything about Goku's vitals just changed. Minaito's watching nearby too. He knows Goku's connection to Bardock, and by now he's actually told him about that. He knows that rage and willpower can both contribute to his Saiyan strength, and that's what Granola's witnessing right now too. The air has gone still. Everything feels really quiet. But then, a storm brews. The ground below Goku cracks. His white ultimate aura flares up, but then gets even more intense, gaining some color to it too. Even Vegeta's a bit taken aback. Goku does feel a bit of sadness right now, and wants to keep a cool head. But, more than anything, he feels rage. A rage unlike any he's ever felt before in his life. His aura then warps into something completely different, his ultimate form mutating alongside it. Vegeta senses his power rise, and his eyes widen. Sparks of red electricity surround Goku. His hair grows out, now taking on a white color. Goku doesn't have anger or potential like Gohan's, or Broly or Vegeta for that matter. But he has ultimate, and he has an immense amount of rage here. Seeing Gohan die directly brought this form out, a new stage of his ultimate form. Even Granola's confused. It seems that this form stems from rage. He's seen Goku angry, but never like this. The chances of this even happening were so slim. It's not a type of power he would have expected from Goku. This is Beast Goku, an incredibly potent form being utilized by a godly Saiyan. The tide of the battle instantly turns. Goku decimates Vegeta. At this point, he's so far beyond Vegeta that it's not even a battle anymore. There's no way Vegeta could have seen this coming. Worried, Granola teleports back to the surface to get Minaito, just to keep him safe. He's still alive, thankfully, but he's worried about what's coming next, thinking Vegeta might blow up the planet. That's the only way Vegeta could win here, because as of now, it seems like Goku's won. But there's another thing he didn't consider. Last he checked, Raditz and Nappa were unconscious. But Nappa thought about Granola's offer. There is one way they make it out of this. In that ship up in the atmosphere, Nappa briefly regains consciousness. In his hands, he creates a small ball of ki, barely even noticeable by anyone, dropping it down on the surface of the planet. No one would see or even sense this ball of ki. The only person who would probably notice it is Granola, though his focus isn't in that direction right now. At least, not until he sees the ship Nappa and Raditz are on flying off. Why are they leaving? Lava erupts everywhere around them. The ground cracks more and more. And not like when Goku powered up, but it's like the actual planet is cracking. It's coming apart. Despite rage awakening this form, and Goku still feeling negative emotions at Gohan and Broly's death, he's still obviously cognizant of what's happening. He's not berserk like Broly would be when he transforms. And even though he could kill Vegeta right now if he wanted, he's not completely merciless and isn't just going to end the fight like that. but he's more focused on what's happening to the planet right now. Granola quickly teleports over, telling Goku to grab onto him. Quickly, Granola teleports Monito and Goku back to Earth. The badly injured Vegeta launches out into space. This form at least lets him survive out there, and he eventually finds the ship Raditz and Nappa are on and boards it. That was a good call from Nappa to blow up the planet. He saw exactly what was happening there. Surprisingly, he almost died. He couldn't even fathom losing there, but he almost did. He needs even more power than he suspected, and he thanks Nappa for his help. Though, he does realize that somebody else used the Dragon Balls to bring Cereal back. Is there maybe another set out there, or did they use the same set Vegeta's aware of? It had to have been Granola, obviously, but how did he meet those other Saiyans on Earth? Not realizing Broly isn't even from Earth. And thankfully for Raditz and Nappa, not realizing Kakarot's connected to Raditz. Now, back to Earth. Both Goku and Granola have a really weird mix of emotions right now. For Granola, he can't believe it happened again. They have the Dragon Balls at least, and by now Kami has improved the Dragon Balls to make multiple wishes, and this time Monito at least survived the attack. But Cereal got destroyed again, as well as everyone that was killed on there. And hey, the Dragon Balls can at least bring back Gohan, Broly, and Paragus, since it's the first time they'd be revived by the Dragon Balls. But as for any other inhabitants on the planet, they've already been brought back once, and they can't be brought back by Shenron again. At least Monito is here to help, so maybe Tronbo could do that. And Goku still feels that rage and sadness. Not just for Gohan, but a little bit for Broly too. But he has calmed down. It's going to be hard to break the news to everyone around him, but the good thing is, the Dragon Balls are active on Earth. In the heat of the moment, he got caught up in what happened. But realistically, it'll only take a few days for him to see Gohan, at worst. They'll be able to get Shenron and revive him, Broly, and Paragus. Plus, he wants to learn more about that power that he got. It wasn't under ideal circumstances, but now that he has it, he's going to definitely use it. And now he's seen firsthand what type of a fighter Vegeta is. Not just his power, but how he operates. Granola's life mission is to kill those 3 Saiyans out there. Once more, he made the mistake of not killing Nappa and Raditz, and it had a much worse outcome this time. This isn't even fully about revenge anymore. It's about settling the score and stopping the chaos in this universe. And as for Goku, he's fully aligned with that. The next time he fights Vegeta, he'll be prepared, and he won't make any mistakes. If Vegeta truly does become stronger than him somehow, that's going to be an issue. But as it is now, Goku is ahead, and that makes him confident. Since Monito is on Earth with everyone, they could use Tronbo. Thankfully, Tronbo is with them because he actually has the 2 Dragon Balls with him. While he thinks having Dragon Balls are a double-edged sword, ever since finding out about Vegeta, he's kept them to himself. And it's a good thing he had them when they left the planet. Of course, he could just make another set if they got destroyed, but this way they could summon Tronbo right away, with Shenron summoned alongside him. Shenron first restores planet Cereal. Then, Tronbo restores all the people that were killed there, which includes Gohan and Broly as well. They had to do it like this because the Shigarians got brought back to life by Shenron already. Granola wasn't just going to let them stay dead. But also, phrasing the wish like this brings back Broly, Gohan, and Paragus as well. So it's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Or I guess, revives 2 birds with 2 Dragon Balls. Never mind, bad pun. Granola and Monito teleport back to Cereal, and he brings the 3 Saiyans back here. Broly wants to spend some time training with Goku now, and of course Gohan had to come back here anyways. Granola will definitely be seeing them soon, and he's going to grow as strong as possible. He wants to be the one to kill Vegeta. Goku kind of just looks at him as motivation now. Of course, he's not really fond of Vegeta, especially after what he just did. But still, he serves as a good goalpost to reach. Goku further works on his power with Gohan, now utilizing his new beast form. And since he has it, he wonders if Gohan has it too. What he doesn't realize is that he was stealing Gohan's whole flow. Gohan has the form as well, he just needs a little bit more training. Between that battle and what's next, not much really happens. Vegeta's out in space and training as much as he can too, realizing that there's someone that's actually above him. Once more he's encountered someone far stronger than him, and this is so rare. He's an elite warrior and mutated on top of it. Even though he's experienced being behind people in terms of strength before, this concerns him, seeing how quickly Goku was able to grow in battle. Of course, that was a one-off thing, but he doesn't know that. Plus, there's Broly out there too. He has the same type of mutation as him. Vegeta really needs to take his training seriously. He has this great potential, and he has consistently trained to grow stronger, but he's not doing a lot of intense training. Maybe he needs to change that. Soon enough, Zeno announces the Tournament of Power. There's no exhibition match because there's no second Zeno, but since the Universe 6 tournament happened, this tournament's still going to happen. Beerus tasked Gohan with being the leader of the team, and he's able to get some people recruited pretty quickly. It's Gohan, Goku, Broly, Granola, Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha, because remember, Yamcha's actually a little bit stronger here thanks to him actually being with Bulma, and having some great training facilities. And damn, they're kind of short a few. They could have Roshi or Chaozu on the team too. Of course, Chaozu's kind of lagging behind, and while Roshi is pretty strong by this point, still, his age kind of works against him. And even then, they'd still be short a fighter. And like, maybe they could put Goten on the team, who I know I haven't really covered much in this scenario, but he's probably just like normal. Or even Paragus, maybe. But if they need exactly 3 fighters, Goku has a pretty crazy idea, but one that kind of makes sense when you think about it. Before he even suggests the people, Granola immediately knows who he's going to suggest. He tells Goku absolutely not. He's not going to accept that at all. He gets really pissed about it too, and Goku knew that he was going to take it that way. For him, it's a lot more personal. Gohan and Broly are against it too because they were killed by Vegeta after all. But even if they weren't, Vegeta's an enemy of them. But Beerus chimes in. He thinks this is a good idea, but also he wants Goku to explain. And Goku's saying this because, despite his own strength, who knows how strong the other universes are? He doesn't like the idea of it, but swallowing their pride and guaranteeing a win is better than trying to scrape together a team and maybe losing just because they don't want to team up with their enemies. And Beerus kind of thinks the same thing too. This is the safest bet. Even though they're not going to really be great allies, they're going to be strong allies. Especially Vegeta. Raditz and Nappa aren't too strong in comparison to the rest of the team, but they're stronger than any of the other options that they have left, and they're still pretty skilled warriors. Also, Beerus commands this because it will push everyone further. Granola still really doesn't like the idea of it, and Gohan's very hesitant, but he goes along with it. Same for Broly. In their eyes, survival's more important than anything. And you know what? Granola thinks this might be good. Immediately after the tournament, they can kill Vegeta. Goku is a bit concerned seeing Granola act like this. Of course, he has every right to act like this, but he shouldn't be so consumed by it. But he promises Granola he does feel the same way, just not as intensely. Vegeta did kill his son right in front of him after all, so it's personal for him too. Whis finds Vegeta and his crew, telling them what's happening. Vegeta has to abandon his duties for a bit, and since their lives are on the line, they join. Plus, they're not going to turn out a good fight. If they're fighting other universes with really strong people, of course they'd want to go. And Vegeta has a condition. His condition is that he gets to fight Kakarot after the tournament, and we said that's probably going to be easily arranged. Who knows, maybe it'll just happen naturally. So the 3 Saiyans are taken to the rest of the team, and pretty quickly, it becomes clear to Vegeta that Raditz and Nappa have met Kakarot before. Which is weird, they should have only known about him on Serial. And not that he cares about Raditz's personal life, but, you know, it was weird that Raditz forgot about his brother all those years. Surely he would have thought of him sooner, like Vegeta even knows his own brother's out there. Which is kind of a surprise to Goku. Wait, there's 2 of them? That might be a problem. But now, Vegeta's infuriated. Raditz and Nappa knew this would come eventually. Vegeta's gonna have to take his wrath out on them later. To think, his 2 closest allies betrayed him like this. Meanwhile, Granola's there too, and he wants to kill Vegeta right away. The tournament hasn't even started, and there's a lot of tension already. Gohan has a new power for himself too. It's his own beast form. Goku knows that this isn't the path Whis wants him to go down, and he's gonna keep using Beast for power, but he's still continuing down the path to Ultra Instinct without realizing it. So, who knows, he might have to abandon this form soon, or try to work with something different. And this could be a good opportunity for Broly as well. He could study Vegeta. If the 2 of them really are that similar, he could watch how he fights, learn from that, and adapt with that too. He hasn't sparred a ton with Goku, but Goku has trained him. Anyways, the tournament begins now. Vegeta immediately goes off on his own, abandoning his allies and the rest of his team as well. It leaves Raditz and Nappa in kind of a weird spot. The opponents they face are really strong, so the 2 of them are forced to fight together. No one else wants to fight alongside them, and Vegeta's not going to fight for them. The rest of the universe makes do on their own. Vegeta would naturally find some interest in the Universe 6 Saiyans, and eventually it's revealed that Kale's pretty similar to him. He's intrigued by her power. It seems she goes berserk and also has green hair, but for some reason, her form has a different name than his. He has no clue why, and nor do I. But that's how it is. The Universe 6 Saiyans lagged behind with getting Super Saiyan, because of how different the tournament went, but I feel like Cabba would have gotten it on his own eventually, and then taught the other 2. Though, with Vegeta realizing Kale has a similar power, he defeats her quickly, knowing that it could turn out pretty badly here. Not that he's worried he'll be defeated, but he knows she's going to be uncontrollable unless someone stops her. And Broly studies this entire battle, looking at how Vegeta fights and how Kale fights, and how Vegeta exploits her weaknesses. Something about Vegeta has changed in this past year or so. Raditz and Nappa noticed this too. He was drunk off his power and thought no one could defeat him, and even though there were instances where that happened, he just thought it wouldn't happen again, and that's mainly why he remained evil here. But he's starting to slightly shift. This doesn't mean he's good or anything, don't misinterpret that. But he's having a mindset shift in terms of what his strength means to him. Goku's about to fight Jiren, but Vegeta butts in. He says he's above Kakarot now, even with whatever that weird form was that he used. He's trained relentlessly. His power is a lot more refined, and Goku can clearly see that too. Despite Vegeta just being in his own version of Super Saiyan 2, the fact that it's this weird mutated version makes it way stronger than it should be. He doesn't have a new form, and it's only been about a year, but the power increase is insane, and Vegeta's aiming beyond this form too. He doesn't think he needs any godly ki or anything like Kakarot has, but he could probably get a Super Saiyan 3 or something if that exists for him, but who knows if it does. Only one way to find out though, and this power is enough for him to actually defeat Jiren. It's impressive to Goku, so he's not just all talk, but Goku's beast form has grown a lot too, though Vegeta might actually be able to challenge him at this point. This will only serve to push Goku even further. It's safe to say Universe 7 wins the tournament. A lot of their fighters are actually still in the ring at the end, and Gohan makes sure to get a bunch of eliminations himself. Combine this with the fact that he's the leader of the team, he gets MVP. Thankfully it's not Vegeta or anyone. He gets the Super Dragon Balls for himself and makes the wish to revive the other universes. But just like Vegeta wanted, he gets his fight with Goku afterwards. And during this tournament, Goku saw the same shift that the others have seen. Granted, he never really knew Vegeta before. He only met him within the last year, and they only interacted one time, and that was the deathmatch that they had. But he could tell something has shifted, and Granola hates to admit it, but even he sees it too. Still, he detests Vegeta. So, Vegeta asks Goku to fight again, but Gohan decides to fight first. He wants to get back at him. Beast Gohan fights legendary god Vegeta, and surprisingly, Vegeta enjoys the fight. He knows Gohan's a hybrid Saiyan, and he finds his power interesting. He always thought that maybe a hybrid Saiyan would have way more potential than a regular Saiyan, and it turns out that's true. He even comes to learn that Gohan became a Super Saiyan at a very young age. He truly does have a ton of potential. In terms of power, the two of them are pretty much even, but Vegeta's a more skilled fighter. Plus, he grows more as he fights, so he ends up actually winning here, but only just barely. And now he's gonna fight Goku just like he wanted. Goku uses the same form as Gohan, his beast form. His is a little different because Goku's potential isn't as crazy, but his godly ki does help him. When you think about it, this is like a godly version of Beast. After training with this form for nearly a year, and further drawing out the power of godly ki within it, Goku has become very strong. He is the strongest right now, but he knows everyone's going to catch up to him. Gohan with his own great potential, and Vegeta with his own mutations, and even Broly. Broly really wants to fight Vegeta here too, but he's still not too practiced with his power yet, though he does have control over his Super Saiyan form, so that's a plus. And he has tapped into that full power a bit. Anyways, Goku and Vegeta battle. Even though Goku is stronger, the fight is really close. And Vegeta grows throughout the battle too. Goku doesn't mind this form, but he can tell it doesn't suit him. He's aiming for whatever Whis is trying to lead him to. The fight actually ends in a draw, and Goku asks what Vegeta's purpose is right now. Vegeta doesn't know what he means, but it's just exactly as Goku asked. And Vegeta says he guesses his purpose is to fight and grow. Sure, he has a whole army that he commands, and he's basically the new Frieza, but he doesn't really like that. He doesn't say all this out loud, but he kinda just did that because that's what he's been used to his entire life. But really, he's not passionate about it. Besides, he doesn't want to be like Frieza after all. And he's slowly starting to get more self-aware and realize this is not a path that he should be continuing down. And Goku asks Vegeta if he's ever trained. And he has. Not really consistently, or often, but recently he started to do it a lot more. And Goku thinks he's not reaching his full potential. What? He just ended this fight in a draw. Well, yeah, exactly. Goku thinks that if he really has that much potential locked away, he should have been way stronger than Goku at this point. And it's not just training either, it's his attitude. That's part of what's holding him back. Goku wants to fight him more. He should hate Vegeta, but he finds him interesting. The others are a little shocked to hear this, especially Granola, but it's not too crazy coming out of Goku's mouth. Also, Goku doesn't say this out loud, but he's seen how he could change others. He didn't really get to see it with Piccolo, but as a Saiyan himself, he's been molded by Earth into something different. And who knows, maybe down the line, Vegeta will be an ally to him. And he can tell Vegeta's probably not even going to trust Nappa or Raditz anymore. But has he ever really trusted them? They were allies, but were they ever really friends or anything? Vegeta says he has no use for any of that. He thrives in solitude. And for someone as strong as he is, it's pretty lonely at the top. He has grown used to that. Goku says it doesn't have to be that way though. Whatever. Vegeta doesn't care to get all philosophical. You know, he was gonna kill Kakarot here, but it looks like he could be fun to fight again in the future, so he just leaves as is. Raditz and Nappa don't expect to go with Vegeta because of how they betrayed him, but he still takes them along with him. And they're incredibly shocked by this. If anything, this is the most proof to them that Vegeta's starting to change. The old Vegeta would have just had a fit, and probably would have just killed them on the spot, or at the very least would have abandoned them for that betrayal. But Vegeta also realizes why they did hide that info from him. He's too volatile, or he was too volatile, and that affected him as a warrior. It's just like Kakarot was saying. So, the three Saiyans leave, and Goku is pretty surprised. Granola didn't actually try to kill Vegeta. He wanted to, he really did. But part of what Goku's saying is true, and if he let his emotions take control of him right there, is he really any less volatile than Vegeta is? Is it really good to be chasing revenge his whole life? Besides, it's not like he could have killed Vegeta right there anyways. But who knows? There's a lot of work to be done with Vegeta, but maybe there is something that can be changed within there. Moro eventually escapes from prison, but he'd probably be better off just staying there because he doesn't know what's on the outside. He ends up going to Namek, trying to get the Dragon Balls for himself. Without Majin Buu being around, they couldn't get the Grand Supreme Kai's help, but the Galactic Patrol still knew that there were strong people on Earth, and not just there either. There was also someone else who was more likely to help. A mercenary. At least, formerly. They went to Planet Cereal and recruited Granola for a price. He hasn't taken a paid job in a while, and this one's kinda good because it's actually doing something worthwhile, and it's not just being a criminal. Plus, they know he's done some shady stuff in the past, so as part of the payment, they'll also overlook anything he's ever done. And he's pretty no-nonsense about it. Thanks to instant transmission, he gets dynamic pretty quickly. He has actually returned to Yardrat here and there, and he is actually the perfect candidate to fight Moro, which is another reason they recruited him. He's never really used Force Spirit Fission, but he knows the basics of it, so even though he's not really practiced with it, and he hasn't really used it in combat either, it could be applicable here, but it might not even be necessary. Moro is pretty weak as is, and as long as Granola doesn't mess around, he could easily kill Moro before he takes any energy from him or the planet. Through a combination of overpowering him, his fighting experience, and his abilities as a Cerealian, on top of his spirit control, this would be a really easy battle for him. Moro is killed and he's not a problem at all. So after this arc, we have the Granola arc. Oh wait, no we don't, because Granola's here. He's been in the story for a while, so alright, I guess Superhero's next. Well, not exactly. Cell never showed up in this scenario. He's here, but he hasn't been activated just yet. So there's not going to be a Cell Max. There's just going to be Cell. This entire time, the supercomputer has been working on Cell. But since this project has been left up to his supercomputer and so much has changed over this time, I feel like it would probably still be collecting data. Like, consider what happened originally. There wasn't really any data to collect. In the timeline the original Cell's from, there wasn't really that much data to collect after the Saiyan saga. Goku ended up going to Namek, and I'm sure there was training here and there on Earth, but really the only thing of substance was the fact that Goku fought Frieza, which is when Cell stopped collecting data because he has Frieza's DNA and King Cold's. After that, there was literally nothing. It was just everyone dying against the androids, and then Trunks fighting the androids. But since Cell was never destroyed here and he kept developing, I feel a supercomputer would try and compensate for that. Maybe it was still studying everybody, and decided to collect more DNA. Now, it's not going to have Beerus or Whis' DNA because the drones probably wouldn't even be able to sense the energy that they give off. Although it is built for regular keys, so it would go after other strong warriors it finds. So it would get updated data from Goku and Gohan, the latter of which wasn't initially part of Cell, and it would probably even get data from the battles like Raditz and Nappa showing up on Earth, though they're not really going to contribute too much, and probably DNA from Granola and Broly. No Vegeta here because he hasn't shown up on Earth at all. Maybe he showed up there very briefly before the Tournament of Power, but he's never fought on Earth, much less shown up on it. So Cell does have some updated data, and notably he has the DNA of Broly, so Vegeta wouldn't even really matter anyways. Red Pharmaceuticals would probably try and free Hedo from prison, though I don't know what project they'd work on. They wouldn't have Dro's data to work off of, and maybe this wouldn't even happen because, yes, they know about the androids being defeated, but it's not like they're recreating Cell here because they don't know about Cell. Maybe he'd still work on the Gammas, but obviously they're not going to be a world-ending threat. They're actually good guys. What actually happens is Cell awakens. The Cell from this timeline is complete, in the sense that he's awoken, not that he's perfect. He still is imperfect. He needs the two androids as part of him, though that's not happening here. But Cell still feels really strong, stronger than he expected. He has so much great data as part of him that, maybe even in this imperfect form, he'd be strong enough to fight anyone he wants. He does go around absorbing some people, but it's not like he really needs the extra food. This is partially to kill time and partially to draw other people out. The first person to find him is Goku, being sent out by Kami who sent Cell in the first place. And immediately he's alert. Once he encounters Cell, he feels the key of so many people that he knows. Now, Cell doesn't have Frieza's DNA here, same for King Cold, but that doesn't really matter. He has extras like Broly and Gohan who really compensate for his power, and he's going to have the abilities of Granola too. And Goku recognizes all of these key signatures. Who is this guy? And Cell simply says that he's Goku's brother. He's not Raditz. The two begin fighting, and at one point in the battle, Cell almost stabs Goku with his tail, which Goku ends up instinctively dodging, even without transforming. This catches Cell off guard, and Goku then shows off his full power. His hair turns silver, and Cell's a little bit confused. He's seen Goku before with a different form. His hair was a similar color, but this time it's a different shape, and the ore is completely different. And yeah, Goku says Cell's thinking of the Beast form. This is Ultra Instinct. Since a few years have passed since the Tournament of Power, Goku's had more than enough training, and he's actually moved on to this. Now, I don't think he would be as experienced with Ultra Instinct as he is in the normal story because, thanks to Beast, he got kind of sidetracked, but he could still use the form willingly, and having it in general is a huge boost. He's actually tried using Ultra Instinct while in Beast, and he can use the principles of it, but not the power boost from it. Before, he was actually using it in base and his other forms when fighting Cell, but now that he's at his full power, he's just using Ultra Instinct, and he's trying to draw out his potential with Ultimate. These two don't conflict. If he tries to use Beast, that form is all about anger, so it's not really going to work too well with it. And sensing this battle going on, another warrior shows up, Gohan, immediately going into his Beast form, and now the battle's a 2v1. Ultimate Ultra Instinct Goku and Beast Gohan versus Cell. But Cell starts to show a lot more power. He knows the Beast form quite well himself, and not just that. His aura flares up. Sparks of red electricity form around him, and his aura is green. It's not like he could transform into Beast or Broly's full power form, but he's using those same principles there. He doesn't physically change. He'd probably buff himself up a bit, growing more muscular. But otherwise, it's just his aura growing more intense, and his eyes starting to glow. This is Cell drawing out all of his power. And with the powers of Beast and Full Power working together, they both can grow from anger, so he uses that to his advantage. There is no need to keep a cool head. Just fight all out and hold nothing back. And Cell puts up a really good battle against them. He holds off the two of them at once, but with two people against him at the same time, they do end up overpowering him. A father-son Kamehameha destroys Cell. And just as they finish the battle, Broly shows up. He's glad things are sorted here because he feels bad for getting here too late. Actually, he's just on time. Gohan's guard is lowered. Why wouldn't it be? Cell is completely incinerated. At least, so they thought. There was a little bit of him left, and he regenerates from nothingness, catching everyone by surprise as he stabs Gohan with his tail, absorbing a bunch of his energy. Gohan quickly powers up and chops Cell's tail off, but he's had most of his power drained here. And Cell thanks Piccolo for that. Even though he's long since been sealed, Piccolo's still haunting Goku. That's a blast from the past. Goku completely forgot about Piccolo and his regeneration, though now that he thinks about it, he did feel Piccolo as part of Cell's ki, but to think he contributed this much. And with the regeneration, plus absorbing Gohan's energy, Cell gets a huge second win. Broly says he'll fight in place of Gohan, going into his full power which he now has complete control of, and Goku's still using Ultimate Ultra Instinct. The two fight together, but Cell is growing more and more. His stamina has gone down a bit from regenerating, but with the power he's gained from his Zenkai and absorbing Gohan's ki, it already made up for it. And Cell's starting to realize he doesn't need perfection. He's already perfect as is. He has the abilities of so many great fighters. He has godly ki. He has the power of Broly, the power of Gohan. His eyes are as sharp as granolas. He has Piccolo's regeneration, and he's a Saiyan. All this together, plus his new power boost, causes Goku and Broly to lose. But just as Cell's about to eliminate them, he senses another strong power approaching, and so does everyone else. There's a faint green glow in the sky, and then the ground erupts. Somebody's landed. Vegeta's standing there, in his full power form. Vegeta? How'd he get here? Well, he flew, of course. He can survive out in space, and he's fast enough to do that. Once he sent Cell's ki, it only took about a minute to get here. Goku chuckles a bit. What, Vegeta's here to save the day? Not exactly. He sensed a strong opponent, and he wanted to see this guy for himself. But to think that he's defeated Kakarot, as well as Broly and Gohan. Maybe this guy will be a nice punching bag for him. Vegeta expected fodder, but clearly not. Cell doesn't really know much about Vegeta. He's heard about him in passing, but he's never seen him and he doesn't have any data on him. But he tells Vegeta he should stop being so cocky. You know what? He'll make a nice snack for Cell. Really now, Goku does warn Vegeta that he's dangerous. He's the culmination of every fighter here that Vegeta's fought. Granola's on cereal at the moment, so he's not going to help, and Raditz and Nappa were left behind. So it was only these three on Earth that were fighting him, and they were still defeated. Vegeta says it shouldn't be a problem. His aura explodes out of him, and then takes on a slightly different shade, and becomes a little bit calmer. Goku's jaw nearly drops because he senses godly ki flowing through Vegeta. Vegeta says it's perfect timing. He wanted to test out this new power. In his first encounter with Goku, he didn't get much exposure to godly ki. But during the tournament, Vegeta did try to take some of it for himself. Now, it was easier said than done. He didn't even know what he was looking for or how to get it. He tried to study Goku, tried to figure out what he did to get that power, not realizing that he had to actually train under Beerus and Whis. So Vegeta actually tried something out. Goku was on Earth for a brief period of time. What Goku doesn't realize is that during that period of time, Vegeta sparred with Beerus again. He had been training really consistently and intensely, and he spent a few days training under Whis too, just to see what he was capable of. This is a surprise to Goku. He would have expected Beerus to tell him that, but Vegeta requested that he did, and Beerus already had no plans of telling Goku. He wanted him to be surprised, wanted him to know that there were still people out there stronger than him. This way, it serves as motivation for him. And yes, I know this form is technically called Full Power, but come on, you guys all know it's inspired by Legendary Super Saiyan, and a lot of you already call it Legendary Super Saiyan anyways. So for Vegeta's godly form, we'll call it Legendary Super Saiyan God. Vegeta vanishes, and so does Cell. Within what feels like an instant to Cell, he's then transported out into the depths of space. And also all the wind was knocked out of him. Vegeta basically tackled him out here. What, is he surprised? Yeah, Vegeta could survive out in space, and so could Cell. He doesn't know if it's because the supercomputer made him that way or because of the Broly as part of him. Not that Broly's ever tested that himself, but Vegeta has here. It should make for a fun battle, right? Cell tries to tap into his full power again, the two auras of Beast and Full Power combining. I guess we'll call it Legendary Beast Cell, even though it's not really a transformation. Here, they won't have to worry about destroying anything of value. Not that Vegeta really cares about the safety of Earth, but he wants to keep his opponents around there. It's not like Raditz and Nappa give him a challenge, so how else is he going to have fun if Kakarot dies, or Gohan and Broly for that matter? The two dash around Universe 7, clashing, and even with Cell's amazing strength, his attacks barely affect Vegeta. He could damage him, sure, but it's barely leaving a dent. The two zip around and Vegeta feels invigorated. He could tell. Once again, he's the strongest. And he's never had a fight this fun. Hopefully Kakarot can give him a challenge because otherwise, his standard has been raised. Vegeta then flies back and charges an attack. and Cell looks terrified, quickly trying to charge an attack of his own, a Kamehameha. He launches it as Vegeta launches a Gamma Burst Flash, and Vegeta yells at Cell, telling him that he's a cheap imitation. Wait, how could he hear him out in the vacuum of space? Who cares? Cell says he barely even knows Vegeta. How's he an imitation? Well, not necessarily of him, but just look at what he is. Amidst their clash, he learned more of who Cell was. And it's pretty easy to tell. Just by his ki alone, he could sense all those other people in him. Cell is just some science experiment. He claims he's perfect, but he's not. You know who is, though? Vegeta. This is the might of a real Saiyan, not a fake one like him. The two beams push each other, but Vegeta adds a little bit more power to his. He was holding back just so he can get that speech in. His beam completely engulfs Cell's beam, and then Cell himself. The beam sends Cell flying back, outside the boundaries of the universe. He's launched into nothingness, and turned into nothingness as he's destroyed by it. It all happened so quick that he didn't even realize he was dead. Vegeta floats in the middle of space, and Whis appears there, commending him. Vegeta asks him how long he's been there, and he said he's only gotten there a few seconds ago. Lord Beerus requested they get there because if that clash went on any longer, well, it would have destroyed the entire multiverse. Vegeta says he had it handled, but Whis says that's no excuse to be reckless. The beam clash alone was too much. Though he asked Vegeta, how's he out in space? He thought the Saiyans couldn't breathe there, at least according to Goku. Vegeta simply says he's built different, but only when transformed. Vegeta focuses and then finds Goku's ki and flies right back to Earth, telling Whis to meet him there. By the time Vegeta gets on Earth, Whis is already there. Looks like he can't outspeed him yet, but he's still pretty quick. Vegeta says Kakarot now owes him. He clearly couldn't handle that threat alone. And Goku hates to admit it, but yeah, that guy was way too strong for him. Though he was the amalgamation of everyone here, so that really just shows how strong they all are. And if anything, he says he and Vegeta should be even. Remember, he killed Gohan and Broly before. Vegeta tells him to not push his luck. Point is, Kakarot owes him a fight. And Goku says Vegeta doesn't need to bribe him. He would have fought him regardless. Though he thanks Vegeta for saving Earth. Vegeta corrects him. He didn't save Earth. He just wanted a good fight. Don't get the wrong idea. He didn't do it to save them. But didn't he fight Cell just so he could fight Goku again? So in a way, he was doing it to save them. Vegeta tells him to shut up before he kills them all. And Goku just laughs. Sure. Angrily, Vegeta flies back out into space, telling Whis to get him once Kakarot's ready for the fight. Rude. Whis isn't his secretary. But Whis turns over to Goku. Is he impressed with what he saw? Yeah, he clearly needs to work a lot more. So do Gohan and Broly. But he's happy. Vegeta's grown a lot stronger, and even though he hates to show it, it seems like something in him is changing. He's no good guy, but more important, he doesn't seem to be an evil monster right now. Though he still kinda runs the Frieza Force, so there's that. But hey, baby steps. And with that, we'll end off this story here. What'd you guys think about this scenario? I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting this scenario all the way through, and I'll see you all in my next video.